Gamers, lend me your ears. The fourth day of the round of 8 is it's on. It's going to be a great match. I'm not sure if there is a clear favorite here, but what do you think, Tastosis?
Ooh, well, I think it's a good match. I do think that Rush is a little favorite against Larva, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, Larva's great, but he doesn't strike me the same way the very scariest Zergs do, which is with their unfathomable Mutalisk micro.
He's still got a little bit of his old Larva style. He's kind of worked out his own approach to the game. It's very cerebral how he approaches it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we on some level. Excuse me, I'm gassy. On some level, I feel like I've been like trying to not burp. I've been trying to not burp like this entire intro of the show. I'm just like, I think on some level we're wanting Rush to move on here.
Yeah, just to have a Terran in the next round. We
just want to have a Terran. It's always ideal. We have 2 of one race and then 1 of the other 2.
Yeah, and you see it's like 2 Zergs already, which is pretty standard issue at this point.
So now we root against Zerg.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Larva actually gives us interesting ZVZs because his micro isn't quite up to the level of a lot of the other pro Zergs, so he does very strategic, interesting moves.
Right.
But
not that he can't micro, but we're more known for a lot of these tricky build order plays, and I think especially ZVT is an extremely worthy opponent. Rush is basically on the cutting edge of Terran. Kind of like we've got Mini over here on the other side of the bracket, really reconfiguring how we look and think about Protoss. I would say Rush is in a similar position here.
You know what? Yeah, that's actually pretty fair, the way that you just lined that one up. Like, Mini has been delivering a lot longer than Rush. Mini's been like really solidly high up for years.
Is this the same haircut and dyed hair? What is going on here?
Yeah, that's very stylish.
They both went with the red tint and the kind of fade in the back. What's going on here?
Well, look how handsome they are.
I know that we give them those jerseys. Do we dress them too? Or do haircuts too? Really?
위기에서 강해졌다는 게 이몽규의 발전된 그런 어떤 부분이 아닐까 싶습니다. 취재 이몽규 대역전승.
라바 임홍규 저그
최종적으로 3승을 연거푸 따내면서 컴팩트 승리. 와일드카드전에서 유영진 선수의 역량을 좀 발휘하면서요, 엄청난 성장을 좀 보였거든요. 세기 박아요 유영진.
안정적인 대처.
그동안의 노력에 또 다시 한번 빛을 발하면서 8강지 치러낸 유영진.
러쉬 유영진 테란 ASL 시즌 11 8강.
We're back. It's time to start game 1 in this ZVT. But first, an interview.
하식스와 LG 울트라 기어가 함께하는 ASL 시즌 11 8강 마지막 경기로 인사드립니다. 안녕하세요, 이영경입니다. 지난 일요일까지 펼쳐진 8강 세 번째 경기까지를 통해서 변현재 선수, 김명훈 선수, 조일장 선수가 4강에 올라와 있는 상황입니다. 자, 이제 오늘은 마지막 8강 경기가 기다리고 있는데요. 마지막 4강에 오를 선수는 어떤 선수가 될지 경기 앞두고 있는 이몽규 선수와 유영진 선수 만나보겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
자, 먼저 이몽규 선수 연속 3시즌 8강에 올라오고 계십니다. 많은 인연을 가진 또 유영진 선수와 8강 대진이 성사됐는데 제가 조추첨식을 하고 나서 대진이 완성됐을 때 좀 기분은 어떠셨나요?
그냥 오히려 복수할 수 있는 명분이 생겨서 기분은 좋았고요. 그냥 준비한 대로, 평소 준비한 대로 준비하면은 충분히 이길 수 있을 거라고 생각을 하고 그냥 열심히 준비했습니다.
워낙 또 16강에서도 죽음의 조를 본인의 손으로 만들고자 했던 이몽규 선수기 때문에 유영진 선수를 만난 게 더 좀 반갑다라는 느낌도 드셨을 것 같아요.
반갑기도 했고, 제가 테란전이 좀 많이 흐트러졌었거든요 최근에. 근데 이번에 준비하면서 좀 많이 보완을 했고 만약에 뭐 혹시라도 조금 뭐 패배하거나 뭐 안 좋게 되더라도 충분히 좋은 교훈을 얻어갈 수 있지 않나 그렇게 생각하고 있습니다.
또 마지막 8강 진출자도 유영진 선수,
네.
이몽규 선수를 만나고 싶다고 저한테 승자 인터뷰를 통해서도 말씀을 해주셨는데
네.
제가 또 바로 뽑아드렸잖아요.
네네.
어떻게 4강에 오를 자신이 있으신지 대진을 보고 나서 확실히 가겠다라는 느낌을 받으셨는지도 듣고 싶어요.
아 그거는 그냥 홍구 만났으면 좋다고 한 거는 그냥 살짝 허세였고, 그래도 좀 저그전 준비하다 보니까 좀 힘든 점이 있어가지고 그 힘든 점 저도 좀 보완해가지고 지금 이제 자신감이 찬 상태거든요. 그래서 오늘 잘할 수 있을 것 같아요.
유영진 선수 지난 시즌 8강은 좀 잊어버리고 싶은 좀 굉장히 힘든 기억이었잖아요.
네.
근데 이번 시즌 8강에 올라오셨지만 역시나 마지막 테란으로서 좀 자리를 차지하게 되셨습니다. 정말 테란을 응원하시는 많은 팬분들은 유영진 선수 경기만 굉장히 지켜보고 있을 것 같은데
네.
마음의 부담도 좀 있으신가요?
이게 상황이 좀 아이러니하긴 한데 일단 2시즌 연속 최후의 테라는 맞긴 하니까 좀 부담감이 있기는 하고요. 4강의 3저그는 좀 아닌 것 같아서 제가 한 1테란으로 좀 차지를 하려고 합니다.
1테란으로서 자리매김을 해보겠다. 이몽규 선수도 앞서 약간 이야기를 했지만 그 1대8이라는 세트 스코어, 그 상처를 극복해내기 위해서 정말 피나는 연습을 해오셨을 것 같다라는 생각이 들거든요.
네.
연습 과정은 어떠셨나요?
여태까지 전 시즌 통틀어서 ASL 준비했던 것 중에서 뭐 제일 많이 했다라고 정말 자신 있게 말할 수 있을 정도로
네.
좀 열심히 준비했어요. 그래가지고 오늘 기대해 주셔도 좋을 것 같습니다.
두 선수 모두 뭐 온라인 전적만 보더라도 이 경기 양 자체도 굉장히 많은 선수들 중 또 한 분이시더라고요. 이몽규 선수 그동안의 8강 경기는 3대0, 3대0, 3대1 좀 다소 원사이드한 스코어들이 나왔거든요. 오늘 이몽규 선수의 8강 경기는 어떨 거라고 생각하세요?
오늘도 뭐 스타트만 좋게 시작한다면 충분히 3대0 가능할 수 있을 거라고 생각을 하고요. 조금 뭐 흐트러지면은 뭐 3대1까지나 뭐 최종적 정말 안 좋게 흘러간다 뭐 3대2까지 예상하고 있습니다.
이몽규 선수가 정말 ASL 시즌 통틀어 가장 많은 연습을 했다라고 좀 자신 있게 말씀을 해주셨는데 유영진 선수는 어떠신가요?
저도 지금까지 연습하면서 가장 많이 연습 승률이 좋았던 것 같아요. 거의 좀 잘 안 져가지고 자신감이 좀 있는 상태긴 해가지고 저도 오늘 한 3대0 아니면 3대1로 이길 것 같습니다.
두 선수 모두 경기에 굉장한 자신감을 가지고 계신 것 같은데요. 자, 마지막 질문을 드리겠습니다. 각오를 한 말씀씩 들려주시죠. 이몽규 선수 어떠신가요?
저는 여태까지 통틀어 가지고 제가 지금 현존하고 있는 아프리카 뭐 스타크래프트 게이머들 중에서 제일 게임을 많이 했다라고 생각을 했는데 유영진 선수가 요새 저보다 좀 많이 하더라고요. 그래서 그에 좀 뒤지지 않게 저도 더 열심히 준비하고 보완해서 나왔으니까 기대해 주셔도 좋을 것 같습니다.
네, 유영진 선수 한 말씀 해주시죠.
잘해서 이겨보겠습니다. 오늘 꼭 4강 가도록 하겠습니다.
네, 두 선수 좀 비장함이 흐르는 분위기인데요. 과연 어떤 경기들을 펼쳐주실지 기대하도록 하겠습니다. 인터뷰 고맙습니다.
감사합니다.
LG 울트라기어와 핫식스가 함께하는 ASL 시즌 11 8강 마지막 경기를 앞두고 있습니다. 이몽규 선수와 유영진 선수 중 과연 조일장 선수의 상대는 어떤 선수가 될지 8강 마지막 경기 지금부터 함께하시죠.
All right, Larva rocking the high school lab goggles. Get your beakers ready.
Well, that shows what he's going to do to Rush in this. He's going to perform some experiments
He's
on him.
been in the lab, I'll say that much.
Right.
Yeah, let's get this going. Ultimate Stream to start it off. Eclipse, Ascension, Fighting Spirit, and Polaris Rhapsody is the order of the maps.
Yeah, kind of an interesting order there. Definitely Eclipse is going to be Rush favored. Fighting Spirit, we'll look at what spawns we're looking at. I think it's gonna be an interesting match. And I think it'll be relatively close. 3-1 or 3-2.
I don't think it can be a 3-0.
It would be very surprising to be a 3-0.
They're too evenly matched. I'm especially excited to see what Rush is going to do and really overall how Larva preps for each match. And I should say each map, rather, not match. Excuse me.
Looking at Larva for this series, I guess what I'm most interested in is how many 2 hatchery openings is he going to do and how many 3 hatchery openings. Because I always think of him as more of a 3 hatchery type of guy. A lot of the Zergs that have been good for a long time tend towards that a little bit, like we saw it in Heroes play, right? Like he was playing a
Right.
little bit more 3-hatch, although 2-hatch is just a bit stronger. So we'll see how he mixes that up. And the thing is, there's a wide range of strategies that you can do as Zerg. On the Terran side, obviously there is as well, right? You can open 1-on-1. You can open up with like a Goliath build. You can open up just standard bio openers as well. And there's a few different very niche builds in there as well. So it'll be interesting to see which ones Rush chooses for which maps. I think he's mostly going to go pretty standard, though.
I think you're probably right. This is a tough one right now. Terran's in a funny spot now that Flash is gone. Flash was not just ahead of the curve in
He was
Terran.
the curve.
Yeah, he was the curve. He basically was mapping out a lot of the game in general. That's
Yeah.
not to diminish the ability or contributions of other players, but Flash went into random and failed to win a ASL, and now he's in the military.
Yeah.
It finally happened. I know if you've been following our ASL cast for years, we kept saying this. It was eventually going to happen, and it was rumored every year he was going to actually do it, but he's finally there, which means he's not going to pull back out. So we don't have Flash for a little bit under 2 years.
Yeah.
We need players like Rush to lead the forefront to Terran.
It's very true.
Not an old school Terran. It's not a Light. It's not a Nada or somebody from a different era. It's from a new era. It's Rush. And we're going to see how well Terran can fare here tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my God, what happened to his forehead? Oh, it's a Light.
No, I think Rush is the leading candidate right now for the Terran race to really drive it forward.
I agree.
It's not to take away from Light, who I still think you have to rank as number 1 right now, even though he didn't make it as far as Rush in this tournament thus far. But like, Light is so standard that you don't get those new things out of him very often.
We talked about this before, but it's the older styles and the newer styles coming out here.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why Mini is a real threat to win this is his PvZ is so modernized. And I think you're right. Light is kind of playing a style from about 3 or 4 years ago sometimes in his games.
Yeah, for sure.
Larva as well, I think a little bit of an older style. And it's not that new is better than old, guys. That's not what we're getting at. It's just this game is always evolving and always changing. And
yeah, very few players, once they get to the top level, continue to evolve with the new builds. Normally, it's the up-and-comers that continue to evolve with the new builds.
Right.
But some of the very top-end guys do, like Queen, like Flash. But honestly, these are like leaders of the race that help to invent these builds, these strategies. But Rush is still in that category where he has like all the new macro builds. He has all the new aggro builds. He has... And the thing is, I think his overall multitasking, his speed, everything about his play is super high level right now.
Just saw him take a little bit of chocolate there. This is something a lot of RTS players have been doing, is having small bites of chocolate in between their games, because it gives them a little bit of a sugar rush, but it's not the same kind of crash.
Dark chocolate?
Dark chocolate, yeah. I think we're ready to get this going. I'm super excited for this. I don't know who's going to take it. I think it's a tough call. I'm rooting for Rush just because I want to have that balanced distribution. But, hey, how can you not be a fan of Larva?
Oh, well, everyone's a fan of Larva.
Yeah.
This guy's fantastic.
All right, guys, we are ready to go. This is game 1 in a best of 5, the last best of 5 in the round of 8 to decide who will get that 4th spot in the next phase of the ASL. Let's do this.
Ultimate Stream. Going to be our first map. We have Larva in the top right.
With his science goggles on.
Yeah, and his chin protector. In
That's
the bottom right, we have Rush. And, yeah, the very first thing we got to look for is what are these openers, right? Because this is definitely a map where you can expand quickly. We could see things like Command Center first. But, of course, if your opponent goes pool first, you're going to be in big trouble.
Kind of a funny map to start this off on because it is such a different map that does reward different styles. I feel like it doesn't change a lot of what Zerg's going to do, but it could change the way that Terran plays.
It makes Zerg a lot stronger to have a map like this. Like this one especially, right? Because the natural is right up at the ramp. That means that you cannot like counter bust them, which is a big part of Terran versus Zerg. Like a big part if you're playing a bio opener is to be able to threaten a counterattack against Zerg.
Yeah.
To keep the mutas out of your base. Now, because he'd have to go up a ramp into Sunkens, you need far less Sunkens to actually defend, so it helps Zerg a bit.
Interesting. But can Terran not just take a quicker expand here? I guess it does. Yeah, I guess the elevation doesn't really hurt.
Yeah, no, it
that
doesn't.
much now
it
that I'm
doesn't.
thinking about it.
It doesn't really change anything from the Zerg point of view. Like maybe a lurker bust would be worse, but it's already terrible. So that's like, yeah. Trust me.
Look at the camera shot down here of Larva. It looks like he got a robot jaw. Just looking at the picture at the bottom.
Yeah. That's awesome. What is the name of that villain that has like the metal jaw on the bottom? I think he's like a Superman villain or something.
I think you're thinking of Jaws from James Bond.
There's that guy too, yeah.
Was there a guy with that metal jaw?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. Let me look that up on my phone.
And Jaws, by the way, is not from James Bond. He's a shark, Tasteless. James Bond did never fight a shark.
He fought Jaws. You don't remember? I know that because he was in the 64, Nintendo 64 game.
Yeah. Okay, so he actually scouts first. Larva does with the Overlords. He sees that it's Command Center first, and he hasn't made a pool. He might actually go 3 hatch before pool at 3 different bases, which is as greedy as you can ever get.
Copperhead is the Batman villain.
Copperhead. There you go.
Yeah, 400 minerals available here. No pool yet. Actually, the pool just now goes down as I say that.
Well,
basically, this is 3 hatch before pool.
Yes, that it is. It's just like the third he decided to take was so far away it took him a moment to get there.
Right.
Rush will get up here and see what's what. He sees how late that is. So he can actually like counter greed this a little bit. Like he doesn't really need to make Marines. He can, I was going to say he can gas immediately here. But he'll probably start looking for a 3rd hatchery with the SCV.
I think, honestly,
I feel like that's the right way to do it.
It's the most predictable location to put a 3rd hatchery is right here.
I would actually predict like the 12 o'clock because it's so close. This one's so far away, but like as long as you hold it against the first rush, it's going to be superior.
And like the match we had just a few days ago, where the Zerg was taking this natural base against the Protoss, a lot of the same rules apply here to the Terran in that Zerg is basically gifted a 4th base for free, which is why this is a popular way to approach the game in general. Now, what's funny is most TVZs, we see the Zerg player take the other main and put lurkers there. But in this case, because it's a high ground position, why not take this one, put lurkers there, hold the spot, and then take a free 4th later on?
Yeah, and that's actually super powerful against Terran. If you cannot break that, the 4th gas is much quicker than in any other situation. And 4th gas, like this is what we talk about all the time in our commentary for this matchup, where if you are going for a bio opener, it's all about denying the 4th gas. And here, denying the 4th gas up there, it's impossible, basically. You're going to have to actually go really aggro this game as Rush. There isn't another choice.
Terran just getting that +1. Sizing up for probably a little bit of a slower game here for the Terran overall. Can't really get much out here. It's going to be a lot of powering on both sides.
Indeed.
You know, due to the geography of the map, there's not a very easy way to punish on either side. And so we kind of hurtle forward into the tech right away. And it gets a little bit greedy on both sides.
Certainly is being quite greedy right now. As far as Rush's build go, I assume he's going to go into 5 barracks here and like really power up his Marine meta count. Yeah, there it is. The 5 barracks all started before 5 minutes, so you see how powerful this command center first play is. Normally, like you can't even start the 2nd barracks until about 5 minutes. So very quick stuff. He's going to have a huge amount of army. Of course, the same can be said for Larva with the 3 hatch so quickly.
Right.
Now,
so,
Lings. Oh, this is insane.
Actually kind of crazy. Okay, I was going to say, so, you know, if you can actually pop that Marine, you can just jump in with Lings and get a kill. And it's
surprised he even tried that, though, honestly.
Yeah, Larva, kind of crazy.
And look, he's actually getting both techs at once, and this will get scanned. Like, he'll probably scan the natural, then the main, something like that. And when he sees both techs, that can be a little bit annoying because you're not actually sure what they're going to end up doing with that. Yeah, so he scans there. He sees a macro hatch already. He sees the Spire and the Hydral's Den. It's a little bit annoying because, like, you have to build the turrets, but you also really have to be cognizant of very fast lurkers, which is a good counter against 5 racks +1.
Yeah, very strong. The drones continue to hatch up over here. And as a Terran player, and I'm asking this because it's such a different map, is there a spot you're really looking at for to try to take, or is it just more map pressure overall?
Oh, do you mean like...
Because it doesn't seem like there's any convenient location to attack into.
No, there's
here, right?
nothing. There's a reason why Larva chose this as the first map tonight. It's because it is going to be a bit Zerg favored. It's just going to be hard for Rush to do much because he has to attack uphill into like lurkers, right? So I think what we're going to see him do is try to bludgeon and then go into dropships, like 2 vessels or 4 vessels into mass dropship. I'd be surprised, honestly, if he does anything else, because if he doesn't end this relatively quickly, Larva will get out of control. He'll have defilers, he'll have ultras, he'll have everything he ever needs.
Yeah, in some ways, it does seem like the map is a bit of a cakewalk tech-wise. Now, another thing I noticed on this map is that it seems like the main is very droppable. It seems like you could do 5 racks played, get 2 vessels out, roam, and then just dive with 2 dropships into the main.
Exactly.
And maybe just end the game.
I think he'll go for 4.
Okay, yeah, even better, actually.
Because 2 is good. 2 really injures Zerg, but 4 can actually win the game.
Well, 4 is just too much to deal with. 4,
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have sunken colonies there, 4 dropships full of medic marine are just way too strong.
Now, the lurkers are not out.
Hold on.
Oh, my God. This is a really big attack from Rush.
This is actually...
Okay, they pop out, and I think it's just holds.
Yeah, okay, he holds it barely. I think mostly thanks to these lanes and the mutas, actually.
Yeah, and now, so that was almost great for Rush, and then it turned out to be very good for Larva.
Right.
Like, it's okay to lose some of those mutas. It's okay to lose 2 lurkers right now. He holds on and erases that many units.
And, you know, Terran is basically making Medic Marine the whole game, so to lose that chunk is devastating.
Yeah, especially if, now we don't know for a fact, but I think it's okay for us to kind of assume he'll want to go dropship, but if you're going dropship to lose that many, because you need to have a force on the map when you drop as well. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. You kind of need to walk your dropships up and stuff like that. All right, see how they're already blinking? He's going dropships first. He's actually killed enough mutas that this makes it a good idea as well.
This is going to be most likely a very short game.
Yes.
And it's either going to be a quick win or Zerg is going to stop the fight and lock the Terran out of opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. If this double drop coming out of Rush doesn't do some damage, like if it just gets caught, Rush will be dead in about 5 minutes. Like that's just it. Like by then we're going to have Plague, Consume, you know, Defilers and Ultras everywhere on 4 gas. And Rush is just going to be behind. He might have
I don't know
loading.
if he saw it.
I'm not sure.
I believe the dropship unload sound is audible. Just barely out of vision, I think.
I think so.
I don't actually know. Somebody let us know if they actually have the answer to that, because that's
well,
one of those things that's good to know.
Yeah, if he heard that, he will be like getting units into position. See, there's Scourge, Hirolings. A bit unlucky, but here we go. He's going across the map. This is why it's really important to have a bunch of units on the map when you go dropship, because if they smell it coming, like, look, he's looking for it. This is incredibly hard to pull off now. Like, you cannot stop the Scourge from killing these when they go to unload.
No, I mean, this is right there. Right now, the Terran looks like the Hamburglar and stuff, trying to...
Yeah.
He's like, I bet you don't know what these dropships are for. I'm like, I don't know. Are they to drop me? You give him a titty twister and go to the next game.
That's about it.
Yeah, there's just not a lot you can do. Now, maybe Zerg over-defends in his main, and then the drop can... It doesn't matter if it's a drop. He hits the front. There's going to be another little mini drop coming up over here.
Yeah, that's the one dropship that did live. It's not the end of the world right now, okay? He didn't lose both dropships full units. He lost a dropship. He lost, like, a couple Marines probably didn't get out of it in time when it died. But he shaved down the mutas more. He shaved down the Scourge. He's probably going into vessels from here. He still has opportunity, right? We don't actually have the 4th gas mining yet.
Right. More importantly, though, you know, the vessels being late as it is takes a lot of the momentum away from the irradiates that are probably much needed to kind of begin to take from the Zerg in what's mostly, you know, a Zerg that's sealed off like a fortress that Terran can't really interact with. But yeah, dropships were stopped.
And Rush right now is taking his 3rd base. It's down at 6 o'clock. That's going to give him some more gas.
Wow.
Oof. One of the first vessels No irradiate cast.
Already
Pain.
late because of drop ships.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's just so much that really Terran's hurting from. And look, nobody made the Terran play this way, but Terran's paying for it. I mean, Zerg's basically aware that they're zoning Terran out of pretty much most opportunities.
There's like right now you know that he has a very scary army on the map, but like how does he break a position?
Yeah. No,
That's all you're looking for right now as the Zerg players to hold on. Look, he's got 3 like stacked lurkers there. Here are the Defilers ready. You cannot break this. It is not breakable. So he has to find some other way, and this is the problem, right? Like the dropships did not work. He's starting to cast irradiates, which is good, but the 4th gas is going to be up. Normally on most maps, right now Larva would be thinking about trying to push down to take a 4th. Here, he's already got it.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm watching this from the Terran's perspective. I don't even know what you want to try to do other than grow and maybe tech into something else.
Well, the only other thing you can really go for here would be battle cruisers.
Okay.
But basically you hit all your upgrades. You're going to want 3 Marines, lots of vessels, and then you can add in battle cruisers, and you could go dropships again as well. Like, you can get back into dropships as the game starts getting crazy. Sometimes there's some great moves you can do where you make 2 battle cruisers, then you make 2 dropships behind. And by the time the battle cruisers get to the main base and start clearing out Scourge and stuff, the 2 dropships come in with them, right? Like there are moves like that. Okay, he just adds some dropships here. So, I mean, if you get this drop off, this can change the game.
Certainly. With the 4th gas now taken here in the other main for Larva, you can really start to actually make ultras and actually push back on the map. Okay, he's moved to the blind spot, spotted by the Overlord. Oh, and Scourge are grabbed.
Yeah. And honestly, Larva's spread is perfect. He's got enough Ling, Scourge, and everything in all points. He's not really breakable. So now he just sits here, builds up the upgrades, he builds up the Ultralisks, and he can afford Defilers at the same time. So it's like Plague, Darkswarm, Ultralisk doesn't truly have a counter for Terran when you're going bio. It's like the I mean, if every game always got to this, we would only see mech, you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I think Terran had the opportunity to maybe have some play here, but was promptly shut down. This is really the Zerg wearing the daddy pants here.
Now,
and, yeah.
I was just going to say, right, like, Rush has taken the bottom left. His macro is nuts. It's super impressive. If, like, he just continues to keep some map control and retains his vessel count, we can still see him fight. You know, like, see, this is tough. This you can see it's like you can't really do anything here except irradiate it while it sits under the orange cloud. But he has 4 bases now. He has a decent vessel count. I'm sure he's keeping up on his upgrades because he's so good. And I mean, and the thing is, Larva's playing so well. He's just like, the vessels come up, and he just moves everything through the Nidus. And then the vessels can't irradiate anything of value.
It's very subtle, but yeah, the Nidus is used to allow units to escape through them so that they can't be irradiated. Here comes that drop, though. This is kind of the moment we've been waiting for a while now.
Yeah.
I don't know that, you know, I guess it's not exactly the most difficult fix in the game for the Zerg to just have stuff here. And, I mean, over time, you just overwhelm that, especially with the drone drill.
Yeah, the Ultras in there make the drop really tough. Like, when you're fighting Ultras, you really need upwards of 36 Marines.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have at least 3 groups, you don't have the DPS to deal with Ultralisks. So, like, leaving some for anti-drop, I mean, you'd need, like, 10 drop ships to deal with that. All right, a lot of vessels still here. And, look, Larva's being a little bit sloppy, right? He's losing, like, that Ultra right there. He's running out some units that maybe shouldn't be run out. But he does want to get some counterattacks. He doesn't want to just sit there and let Rush get anything Rush wants. So a big counterattack coming down here. That Firebat doing serious work. My God, that Firebat did a lot. If that was an additional Marine, everything at that base would be dead right now.
Now, the Zerg is about to enter problems of his own because he doesn't have a 5th base. You can run the game pretty well on 4 bases in a CDT, but when Terran basically stopped fully engaging you and instead kind of take positions on the map, Terran can then out-expand the Zerg in one of the more weird tempo-related moves of the game.
Yeah. It is very true that like in a lot of pro matches you can see Terran actually get up to more bases in these situations where there's like 4 Zerg bases, because Zerg can't do too much yet. He's getting all of his pieces, right?
Right.
Like he still has one more carapace upgrade that he's waiting for. He's starting his melee upgrades. He wants to continue to like slow rush down, but we'll eventually see Larva coming out with a lot.
Nice targeting here on these ultras. And, you know, Irradiate is a double-edged sword here. You can see that obviously bio units for Terran also suffer damage from Irradiate, but I think Rush is now in a position where this isn't really so bad after all. Now, we've seen in the past, Flash especially, go for mech after this. With lots of tanks.
Yeah.
It seems like it's an old way to play, at least considering how people play now. Can we see that here tonight?
Not here, not this game. Like, this would actually be a map where maybe it could kind of be used, but it's a little bit dated now, especially against Larva, I think. Larva's, like, really good against that style. Because he is this type of late game Zerg. He's the type of guy who will like get the queens and do the drops and do the switches. Yeah, so we're not going to see it this time. It's really at this point about like continually irradiating. If you can keep the defilers away from you, see, this is the actual problem. Because Rush can make enough units to kill ultras forever, but as soon as there's a dark swarm down, the base is gone.
Yeah, there's no recourse there.
Oh man, and that's the move from Larva right there.
Yeah.
Moves like that.
That was very intentional. There was no accident there where he's like, oh wow, look, there's vessels here. He knew those were going to come back to try to help out. This puts Terran on 3 bases. Zerg is going up to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases.
And look, he's trying to get something done, but a couple dark storms going down, and he's having a very tough time. Some ultras getting into his rally point. And, I mean, like, maybe he kills this hatch, but he's losing so many units at his rally now. When you get on top of a Terran rally in a game like this, you're going to overwhelm them. That's it. GG.
Yep. Very dominant performance from Larva. I mean, I don't know what to expect in these other games. Obviously, that is a map that kind of allows Zerg to have a shortcut to get to where they need to be in a powerful macro game.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can kind of play like that on any map that has a layout with a tight natural where you can defend.
But it's predictable.
It's risky, though.
It's predictable on that map because
it's because it's super strong there. And, you know, that's probably going to be the hardest map for Rush. This is why Larva chose it first. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, Larva picks up that victory. But next, we're going to have Eclipse. And that's the best map for Terran versus Zerg, because Zerg's getting a 4th there it's the hardest map in the pool for them.
Okay. Well, let's see how Larva performs then on our second map. For now, in this best of 5, Larva takes that much-needed lead. He's up 1-0. But Rush is looking strong, looking prepared, and I think, honestly, Rush is happy to get that map out of the way, move on, and go into Game 2, guys. Tiny break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
이름
이몽규.
생년월일
94년 7월 19일.
아이디
라바.
아이디의 유래
아무도 안 써서.
본인의 성격
부러움.
별명
오이소박이.
갖고 싶은 별명
황제. 저그 황제. 저그 황제.
곱슬인지 직모인지
탈모다.
최근 들은 가장 기분 좋은 말
사랑해?
누가
와이프?
누가 하면서 가장 행복했던 순간
딸이 웃을 때?
스트레스 해소법
영화 보기?
좋아하는 영화 장르
배드신?
좋아하는 음식
좋아하는 음식 국밥?
최애 국밥은
돼지국밥? 요즘은?
민트 초코 먹는다 안 먹는다
안 먹는다.
반려동물 키워
요롱이 2살? 3살?
최근 관심사
격투기?
좋아하는 격투기 선수
코너 맥그리거?
수염을 기르는 이유
코너 맥그리거 때문에?
수염을 기르는 비결
그냥 잘 자라.
자신 있는 신체 부위
손? 커서?
최근 가장 오래 연습한 시간
13시간? 4시간?
8강 진출 소감을 5글자로
겁나 짱 좋군?
가족들에게 한마디.
새별아 여보 나 8강 갔다. 이번에 우승까지 꼭 해가지고 가문의 영광이 되겠다. 사랑해.
팬들에게 한마디.
여러분 꼭 우승해서 가문의 영광이 되도록 할게. 사랑해.
이름.
이름은 유영진.
생년월일.
91년 11월 30일.
아이디.
러쉬.
아이디의 유래.
여러 가지 단어를 고민하다가 좀 러쉬가 멋있어 보여서 선택하게 됐어.
혈액형.
A형.
본인의 성격.
A형이지만 그렇게 소심하지 않은?
별명.
원래는 유형사로 좀 불리다가 요새는 좀 잘해져가지고 유형호랑 유형사 같이 불리고 있어.
더 마음에 드는 별명.
마음에 드는 거는 잘하는 게 좋으니까 유형호.
최근 들은 가장 기분 좋은 말.
게임 이겼을 때 이제 딱 다들 환호해주는 그런 게 제일 좋아.
스트레스 해소법.
잠을 자는 것 같아. 잠을 좀 길게 자면 풀리는 것 같아.
아빠가 된 소감.
아빠가 되고 나니까 뭔가 나도 모르게 나오는 이 책임감? 아까도 게임하는 도중에 이제 뭐 딴딴이도 있으니까 더 열심히 하자라는 생각을 가지고 했던 것 같고 그래서 성과가 더 잘 나오는 것 같기도 해.
아내에게 음식을 해준다면?
내가 음식을 해줘 봤었거든. 근데 살인 음식이라고 하더라고. 딱히 좋아하지 않는 것 같아서 그렇게 됐어.
8강 진출 소감을 5글자로.
완전 짜릿해.
여자라면 사귀고 싶은 ASL 16강 리거.
차라리 그냥 100살까지 홀로 늙고 죽을래. 아무도 안 만날게.
임신 중인 아내에게 한마디.
솔직히 결혼기념일 1주년이면은 막 어디 놀러 가고도 싶고 뭐 하고도 싶고 이런 한 게 많을 텐데 나한테 서운한 내색 안 해주고 내가 연습할 수 있도록 도와줘서 너무 고맙고 시간이 좀 있으니까 그때 한번 바람 쐬서 놀러 가면 좋을 것 같아.
팬들에게 한마디.
오늘 못 올라갈 거라고 생각하시는 분들 많았겠지만 이렇게 올라갔으니까 더욱더 응원해 주시면은 4강 한번 진짜 스스로 찍어서 스스로 시드가 돼보겠습니다.
Welcome back, everybody. We're taking a quick little time out here to ask you if you love us, if you love what we're doing here at ASL, please check out our Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. I'm sure there's many of you out there that have been meaning to sign up and support it but haven't yet. If you can, please do. We appreciate the support. We love what we're doing. We want to keep the history of StarCraft alive forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, that's right. And we are working on bringing some more content.
But what content could it be? Well, we can't tell you yet because we don't have confirmation. We haven't been green-lighted.
Yeah.
Yet we're figuring some stuff out. So sit tight. But again, thanks, guys. We love you guys. We appreciate the support.
Yes. So thank you. Now,
right.
let's talk about this match a little bit, Tastosis, because we just had a pretty dominating victory from Larva, but it was a bit map dependent. It's a really tough position to be in, and no matter what you do, you have to be a little bit cheesy, a little bit aggressive as Terran, and as soon as it doesn't work, a player of Larva's level just shuts you out.
How is he wearing his mask still like that? How is that comfortable?
I don't know.
I understand players to keep the mask on, but when they keep the mask down for an entire... This is going to be like hours. Can you really have a mask down on your chin like that and not notice? I don't know.
You'd have it like
I think
that all
COVID's
day.
changed us, man.
Yeah.
We're now so much more... It's like when you're wearing like a pretty tight belt, it kind of hurts your sides, but you're just used to wearing belts all day. That must be what it's like here with the mask down on the chin. He's like, no, I'm like this all the time.
He's just used to it now. All right, Eclipse, our next map. This one should be favored for Rush. If he does not win this map, he will not win this series.
I agree. I think it's either going to be a 3-0 now or it's going to be a back and forth. But I think Eclipse is a must-win. It's a manageable map for a Terran against a Zerg. But Larva might have some sneaky stuff.
Maybe.
So let's see what happens. Game 2 begins now, guys. Larva versus Rush continuing on.
You make fun of it, but I like it.
I do like it. I have a band that sounds exactly like this that I just found a week ago. I should send to you, actually.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
I only like new music that sounds like old music.
That's coming back now, actually.
Really?
There's a lot of people are kind of going back to some of these older styles.
Yeah. It's better that way.
Artosis.
You take your house music and you
Artosis.
go
House
dance
music
to
is
it.
very, very old, Artosis. That's a really old genre, man.
It was really old. You're talking like it's classical music tasteless. Get out of here.
Pretty much is
Oh my
Tastosis.
God.
That's so funny.
You're talking like it's hitting rocks and sticks together for cavemen.
Well, the house is hitting rocks and sticks together for like electronic music, but yeah.
All right. ASL map data shows us that Eclipse hasn't been that bad for Zerg so far. But honestly, like, I mean, that's a small statistical pool. I do think it is a Terran-favored map. It is not unwinnable for Zerg, but you have to play it smart. And if there was going to be a map where Larva cheeses, I truly think it should be this one.
I agree. I think if there's something that could be avoided here by Larva, this would be probably the map to do it on. He may just play a very straightforward game, though. Larva more known, not so much for his sharpness and rushes, although he has had some games like that, but more for just kind of doing the control play, the very classic Zerg approach of kind of staying ahead, harassing. But every once in a while, Larva does something pretty sneaky. I mean, drop play could be in order here as well.
Oh, that would be
I
wild.
think this is actually a map where you can do some sneaky drop stuff.
You know, I think, like, when I think about something that could be strong enough to catch Rush off guard and get him, hidden bases aren't going to work.
No, I don't think so.
Like, you could try to, like, really streamline something like a Guardian build. Something like that. I mean, occasionally you're going to catch someone off guard with that, right? Also, because Rush is doing a wall in, there is the slight possibility that you do something very tricky with lurkers, which, like, the thing is, if a Pro Terran sees that coming, it never works.
Right.
Like, they'll just build a bunch of bunkers out in the front, and that's going to be that. But there are ways that you can kind of sneak it in really quickly occasionally, right? Like, you wait for their scan timings, things like that. But other than that, I mean, you could just play a standard game. Right? Like, maybe he thinks that his Mutalisk Micro is going to be strong enough that he can maybe just, you know, get the damage with that and whittle him down and then battle for a fourth. It's tough, though, because I've seen Rush play this map. He's most likely just going to go straight bile, float his factory as well as his science facility out to watch areas, keep Marines at all the expos, and just irradiate for decades.
For decades.
For tasteless. And literally, like, on this map, when Rush plays, like, a containment Terran vs. Zerg style, like when you don't just get a fourth for free, he will literally just only use scans to see irradiate spots, right? Like, he only scans looking for defilers and lurkers, and then he irradiates. And he will literally do that until you leave the game.
It does seem like Terran...
He's very good at it.
Basically camp out in between the third and the natural. Yeah, and just kind of chuck irradiates in over and over again.
A lot of times you'll have two separate groups, one at each, and just, irradiates for decades, tasteless. All right, so this is a very quick eBay build. And, this is quite a strong build. Like, he's been very, very greedy since he has the wall. He doesn't need a bunker or anything, so he's sitting here on 3 Marines. He has the SCV holding position there because he's playing so greedily. But he's going to be able to get his +1 quickly. He's getting his Academy super fast, too. So he's going to have range, like, already well on the way when the mutas get there, which is very, very nice. Oh, that's funny. Larva can't see the CC.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I guess, you know what's funny is that does factor in quite a bit. If you're not entirely sure they took a base.
Larva is assuming he took it because he didn't make a sunken.
Right.
So
attack the egg.
Oh, you know what? He had, now that I think about it, his drone was in there before, so he did see the CC.
Right.
Yeah, never mind. But can't see it from the wall. Anyways, he actually skipped sending an Overlord there over the ledge. I've seen actually on the ladder, this has just started where Zergs are sending the Overlord over the natural very late so it doesn't get caught. Because it's actually really easy to catch the first Overlord with certain builds. But anyways, third base coming up. A lot of Lings everywhere on the map for Larva. He's just kind of double-checking everything right now. And going up to 4 racks. But that should be it. We should not see a 5th racks here from Rush.
But some of the same ideas are at play. I mean, the builds are a little bit different, but essentially you're trying to collect enough infantry to have a presence on the map the Zerg is going to try to get enough Mutalisks to keep the Terran under threat and therefore defending it at home. But if Terran can defend that and wriggle free, they will move out.
Yeah, and nice scan goes down. Sees the eggs. He should be scanning the main here in a second, just to doubly confirm. And it looks like Rush wants to keep a lot of pressure on the map. When you see someone go for 4 barracks after an opening like this, especially with such quick +1 and such a quick academy, they're trying to really power into a lot of Marines and bully Zerg back and keep them more on the defensive so they don't have to build as many turrets. They can threaten killing off the 3rd base, things like that. And we'll see how Larva deals with that. Like, I loved how Queen dealt with it, where he went for the dive and said, screw it, take my 3rd against JYJ, you know? But I think if you do that against Rush, he will take your 3rd. He will kill it. There will not be a mistake there.
Pretty good angle here for the Marines to come and really shooting down the first dive attempt here by Larva.
Perfectly timed turrets.
Yeah. Occasionally, you know, the Zerg gets in there a few seconds earlier, pops the turret, and then things can kind of begin to unravel on the Terran side. But right now, I would say pretty good overall.
Yeah. Rush defending everything, moving out onto the map. He's done the scan and checked the 3rd. He sees it's very drone light. The creep isn't even all the way there, so it's a very new 3rd. It's like Larva trying to do something here, but he has to be careful too, right? Like, see this group coming out and how he keeps it a little bit forward. He'll reinforce that about 1 more time, and then he's going to go. And if Larva does not stay here and whittle it down with those mutas, like, as long as you fly the mutas around it, it has to be careful.
Right.
But if you're not doing that, then Rush can really punish you.
Now, this is enough. I don't think it can be overwhelmed by Ling Muta, but you got to be careful. A couple Muta shots, they take off in 3 or 6 Marines. The numbers drop, and the Zerg will just completely wipe this out. But both sides need to approach this with caution.
Okay. What is he doing?
Baiting stims is pretty good, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
These medics can eventually run out of energy.
And he's waiting for units to kind of run off on their own here and pick off anything again. Gets a medic. Very nice.
Yep.
That's the #1 thing you want to kill.
Great control on both sides, actually. Terran pulled away the right number of Marines. Zerg called the bluff and actually just hit the medic there.
And you can see how much he's whittling down, despite the fact that Rush has like a lot and +1, and he's microing very well. Still, Larva's doing a fantastic job, continuing to produce a lot of mutas. The scan goes down, seeing the Hydralisk den, but he hasn't seen Hydras pop yet.
Now, to the uninitiated, it might look confusing as to why Terran would ever allow Marines to be out in the middle like that when it's clear Zerg can take pot shots at him like this. It's because if Terran's not out in the middle of the map, if Terran's inside of his base, Zerg is then harassing inside the base and doing damage. And at least with this approach, Terran has the opportunity to counterattack. Now, he's +1 attack is done here for Zerg. He has, with surgical precision, popped right into the center. He's starting to dish out a lot of work.
I think Larva is outplaying Rush here.
Yeah, I agree.
Rush took a second and then sent his units back.
Losing some mutas. That's a little bit rough, but he can replenish those.
Yeah, he flew those out in the wrong direction, I think, as well. But the fact that Rush turned around instead of making a beeline across the map, he didn't feel confident enough to go and do damage. He wasn't certain whether or not Lurkers were going to be ready, because Zergs will dive the second they know they're safe. He actually was not going to be safe this time.
Right.
And we just saw Rush scan there and see no Lurkers. And now the Muta group is full again. So he's like, damn, I took all that damage and turned around, when he could have just gone up and done damage.
Yeah, this is a great game here by Larva. He's actually really almost threatened a Rush to the point where I think Rush lost an opportunity.
Yeah.
To be frank, I think that push across the map was well-deserved, but I think in some ways Rush almost showing too much respect for Larva here, and Larva being able to get away with quite a bit. Hammers down another turret, and now there's a soft spot here over at the barracks, and Terran basically has to put that fire out, or things are only going to get worse. However, there's a small army counterattacking here, and it seems like most of the stuff having been unattended, he's going to need to get everything into a better position right away.
Yeah, these mutas have to come out and fight against this Bioforce right now. He doesn't have anything defensively at home. We saw Hydra coming across the map, so we do know that Lurkers are going to be out very, very soon. But Larva has to get everything sealed up now, and the mutas have to buy the time to do that.
Looking for any opening he can get.
Yeah, right now he's going in between these units and the main so he can pick off reinforcements as well. The Ling's coming in and slowing it down, so he'll start to engage the ones on the left-hand side a little bit, but there's just enough to sandwich, and he has to fly out.
Yeah, he's got to get away, but lurkers are out. No sunks here, by the way. You know, 2 lurkers can be good, but sometimes if you get the right angle, you'll kill them right away.
Yeah, this amount of Marines would, actually. It would kill all the mutas and 2 lurkers.
Right. So more vessels are coming out. He's going to have these vessels merge with the ground infantry army that's over here. You want to be very wary of hold position lurkers. Granted, I don't think this is one of the better maps for it. I think it's actually kind of a bad map for it because there's so many different areas they could be at. There's a chance your hold position lurkers never get any action at all.
That's true.
But again, you need to have the vessel with the army in order to ensure that you know what's underground.
Oh my God.
My God.
That was both games.
I didn't even believe it was going to happen when I saw it coming. I thought surely he's going to pull away.
It's a frustrating moment.
There's a few units where the first ones you get out really do build up all the tempo in the game, and the Vessel's one of them.
It's spellcasters, really. Like High Templars and Vessels are the 2 big ones like that. And an Arbiter, of course. Like, you cannot be losing the very, very first one. You want to get some value. Now, he gets 1 irradiate off. And the thing is, Rush is not dead. Like, that, it sucks that he lost that, and maybe he missed an opportunity for some damage with that counterattack we were talking about earlier.
Right.
But now you're going to see Rush in action on this map, and, like, he's going to show you, Paceless, if you ever want to be a Terran player, this is how to play Eclipse. Because he is going to, like, control the map. It is up to Larva right now to figure out how does he break out and get a 4th gas.
Yeah, right now the Terran is basically besieged Zerg.
What a catch.
He gave up, he gave up the position for a little bit, but he's going to be back out here and doing the control play. And, you know, Zerg looks kind of scary up to this point of the game on this map. Where now Terran basically has this ocean of units on the low ground. Zerg has to really proceed with caution. This becomes a matchup of the floor being lava. You know, anything that's not in your base is kind of hot lava.
Yeah,
you got to be careful there.
And I like the approach that he's taken. You see those 3 macro hatches going up. I think that I've seen this gain some popularity lately for Eclipse, where you make a bunch of macro hatches because you're going to need a lot of Lings to help buffer.
Yeah. And you're almost looking to just kind of almost overpower the Terran outside the entrance, I think. Get Defilers, get a lot of Lings. Whoa!
By the way, just saw him stim a couple Marines. He was checking how many lurkers were there by the spines coming out against them. The Scourge, all patrolling heavily. Larva knows that a part of the key to victory is reducing the vessel count.
Now, I got a question. Why do Terrans not put an SCV in the control group and trap it like we see with Zergs do with an Overlord and Mutas, or Protoss do with a Probe and a Corsair? Yeah, why don't they do that?
Oh, you don't actually want them stacked, because then it's too hard to click them and check their mana as well as tell them to radiate.
That makes sense.
So you actually want them clumped, but not on top of each other.
Oh, that makes sense.
So yeah, in fact, when they get on top of each other, sometimes you do double irradiates and stuff by accident. Because you're moving so quickly, it's like a single click is really hard to do sometimes.
Right, and it can end up being actually a drag click.
Yeah,
where you get
exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. So
okay, that makes sense.
This basic formation that you see, that's like kind of, you just leave them like that. All right, so nice irradiate. It is definitely worthwhile to still irradiate the Mutalisks.
They're really dealing with this. Larva, my God. Get him out of there, man.
Honestly, those should just go sit in the main till they heal.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah, you can see he's hold positioning Overlords over the Lurkers. This is incredibly difficult to deal with, because then you can't click their irradiate. If you perfectly stack the Lurkers and put an Overlord over it, you literally can't click.
So we're having what I was mentioning might happen in the last game. He's making a bunch of factories. He's going to go for that Siege Tank exhaust play.
Oh, that's crazy. This is not how he normally plays this map. I watched like all Rush games, and this is really cool to see, because I'm sure that Larva did his homework and is probably going to be focusing on like plaguing, massing up lots of Ling Lurker, and then coming out. So but here, since there's going to be a big switch into mass Siege Tank, in fact, he's actually going into Lurker Hydra. That's what he's doing. Oh my God, this is so exciting.
Oh, that's so funny. You know what? Even though I see all these hiders on the screen, it didn't quite register with me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
it's so uncommon to see a pro Zerg do this.
This is kind of like the old Sauron Zerg style.
This is
lots of hiders.
Manzurg in Control used to
yeah,
call it.
Jeff used to say Manzurg. That's right.
Because he actually played this style a lot.
Well, yeah, especially when Jeff was very good. This was kind of the de facto way to play the matchup. And so the idea is that you actually want your Hydras and Lurkers. You're just making nothing but Hydra Lurker, and you're going for fights. And Hydras, if you get enough of them and they're upgraded enough, they can kind of hold their own against Marines, especially if there's Lurkers burrowing in the process.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of this battle Zerg, like, let's just overpower him. And I don't think that he was expecting this. I think he was expecting Ling, Lurker, Defiler.
Well, that's what I was expecting, but when he threw down the factories, like, he knew. Like, as soon as he landed a factory, you would never go tanks here except against this.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, Zerg could actually push the factories here, which is going to knock tanks out as an opportunity here.
He will not be able to break this position. Rush will slaughter this if he goes. All right, Larva coming forward. Yeah. So here's the issues when playing against this comp is they bring up a few defilers, and the Lurkers actually do a better job at stopping the vessels than Scourge even do a lot of the time. Because if you just have a little group and you run them forward to target the vessel, yeah, the Hydras.
You said Lurkers, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, Lurkers do not stop vessels. Yeah. But yeah, they do a good job of zoning out. So you get up here, and obviously, if you have a Lurker under Darkstorm, the tanks don't hit it.
Right.
So that area, it like becomes a lot harder. Now, Hydra just walked on top of that, so the tank splash hit, and then actually hit the Lurker. But
I think there's too many tanks out now.
Yeah,
I don't think this is viable anymore.
He can't attack into it. That's for sure.
Hold my beer, Tastosis. Thing is, the tanks will get away. Oh, can he actually get that last tank? Oh, he does. Okay, nice.
Yeah, he's like bleeding off some units here. He needs to take a fourth like right now, very badly. But the siege tanks are like, this is the right way to play against it, is to just go like mass siege tanks. Get your attack upgrades, siege them up. This is actually exactly I build the factories as well, like on Eclipse. And if you play it like this, I gotta tell you, as a Terran player, this is hard to stop in my opinion. And you can see the Dark Storm's making this very difficult.
Yeah, well, normally this is great against Ling, Ultra, Lurker, right? And with Dark Storm, you just have so much splash damage that everything in there is dying anyways. But I think that Larva's almost out of this game, basically. He's trying to force a fight, and he's losing. He's losing, and I think he's basically put himself in a position where he can't really recover. Karen does have a force.
About that.
I think...
I'm surprised that he went so all in with it, because it's very good defensively as well. You can slow down mass tanks forever with Darkstorm.
That's true.
So I feel like it was very easy for him to get a fourth base during this, and then it wouldn't feel like he's dead right now. Now it feels like he's dead because he threw his whole army to Rush several times.
Well, he just doesn't have much of anything. And the tank count, there's going to be more tanks in this game than there are Lurkers.
Yeah.
And that's really the only fact you need to have to kind of imagine how Zerg could come back. And they can't. GG. Larva loses. We're tied up 1-1.
Okay, so a strong win from Rush. Larva bringing out a very alternative style, but maybe going a little bit too all in with it. He almost broke through despite the fact that there was like 10 tanks in siege mode.
Yeah.
But a good hold by Rush. Stops all the shenanigans and ties it up.
Frustrating game there for Larva, but like we said, probably wants to get that map out of the way. Now we go to the third game, effectively making this a best of 3.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that.
Who can win on this third map? I think the maps that were bad for the respective races have been pushed aside.
Those are the two more unbalanced maps for this map pool. So we'll be getting into better ones after this. I think it's maybe Ascension next, and then Fighting Spirit, approximately.
I think so.
Yeah, Fighting Spirit's the fourth map. I know that much. We can only hope Rush gets bottom left and dies to Mutas.
I know we.
I want it to end like that, and then we
get
just ZVZs for the rest of the tournament. That would be optimal. But yeah, okay. So we're tied up 1-1, guys. I think we're going to be going to a quick little commercial break here, and then seeing who's going to get up to match point. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Game 3 just around the corner. Rush versus Larva has been an exciting And I think a little bit different ZBT than I think what you and I were expecting here. I didn't think Rush was going to do that old tank style either.
Yeah, well,
but I didn't think Larva was going to go for Manzurg style either.
Yeah. That's what triggered the siege tanks, because you would never actually do that. That becomes very weak against like regular Zerg play. But yeah, countered Larva's play there on Eclipse. I don't blame Larva for playing like that at all. That's a very hard map for Zergs. So here we go, Tasteless. Map number 3, Ascension, coming up. Woo! Glad you're excited. Woo!
Okay, so Zerg in the bottom left, Terran in the very top center at 12 o'clock. Tell me a little bit about the way early game can pan out on this map and what we might want to, any surprises, I should say, that we might want to expect. Because I know we can obviously always go into a pretty normal-looking TVZ.
Honestly, I think it's... I haven't seen too many TVZs on the map yet, but there's nothing about it that makes me think there's something like crazy that could happen. Like where the mineral patches are placed and everything at the natural for Rush, it doesn't look very harassable. It looks like that's a pretty easy spot to hold. So mutas are probably not going to be super effective early on. You're probably still going to go mutas, but it's not like one of those spawns, you know, like when we get to Fighting Spirit after this, we'll talk about it, where the Fighting Spirit naturals are like, hey, this is muta heaven, right?
Right.
Whereas you look at this one, it's like, no, this is totally fine for defense.
Okay.
So, no, I think we'll probably just get a pretty normal-looking TVZ out of it. We'll just have to see what strats they actually want to end up opening with.
Is there anything that can incentivize the Terran to go for like a mech build or do some kind of 2-port Wraith?
Well, 2-port Wraith is a build that is reserved for Leda and Terrans that are truly desperate on a terrible map.
Is it basically a cheese? Is that what it is, 2-port Wraith?
Yeah. It's like you're basically counting on your opponent not having enough practice against it and you having a lot of practice with it. That's Leda in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, because he does it so much that it's become comical.
Yeah, it's not that good a build. It really comes down to the Zerg and how well they're going to execute. You can only put so much into it. So
I've never really understood the build in general because it's always been around. It's one of those weird old builds in StarCraft that I wasn't sure if it was actually something that's worthwhile or...
Even Flash has a really hard time making that one work.
Yeah.
So, no, not something to expect. As far as like mech or something, it's just like sometimes you'll see mech done specifically on maps and in locations where it's extremely hard to defend mutas, which this is not one of. But that being said, like, that's not the only time. Sometimes you just choose to do mech. It's just, it's a good build to have sometimes. Like, for instance, right now, he's going gas, so you know he's going to go factory, but you do not know if it's going to be mech. This could be a 1-1-1. It could be a vulture drop. It could be mech. You know, it could be a Wraith build. You don't actually know right now. One thing we can see is he's still mining with gas he has 2 on gas, I believe.
Looks like 2,
he has 2 on gas, but that could be a red herring for this drone as well. And notice how he keeps circling back. It's worth losing the drone to try to keep track of how much gas is being mined, because you want to know, is this going to be a command center, or is this going to be more tech?
Yeah, it's kind of an odd middle area, right?
I think he's going to go vulture drop based on the amount of gas he's mining, but it's hard to say.
This drone can get around. This is huge. Oh, this Marine, he's still going to see 2 in gas.
But you can just make the CC after that, too. Like, this is part of the tricky thing with StarCraft. Like, you can make your build bad to trick your opponent, and he just did that.
So now he lifts that off. We have 1 starport coming down.
Okay, and he's
not, oh, he is going to land it.
Yeah, let's see if it's add-on. No add-on. Well, okay, add-on. There you go. Now, there's a couple things that could be here. Like, I think with the add-on, almost 100% that should be vulture speed. So I do think he's probably going vulture speed. Now, is he going to go Wraith? Is he going to rush up to Valkyrie? That's hard to say. This is one of the openers with Terran where you have the most room to maneuver, because you can actually here go Valkyrie, you can go Wraith, you can go Science Vessel. All three of those can counter mutas. But I mean, if you're doing this and getting an add-on, it's almost certainly Vulture Speed.
Yeah, Vulture Speed.
Mines are okay, but most people go Speed.
Well, Vultures with Speed can basically keep microing forever. I mean, Lings are not good at all against Vultures with Speed, unless they catch them, which if you're microing, you're not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of maybe the Valkyrie transition after that.
Yeah, I mean, Valkyries are pretty fantastic. Yeah, he kills off the Lings before they really get anything. He already saw Vulture. He knows that a Vulture is going to be made at least
And it's
once.
actually a Wraith.
Yeah, like the Wraith is to kill a couple Overlords and get some scouting done. But we'll see. You can go Cloaked Wraith, and you'll generally make 3 of those for anti-muta, and then go into like Vessel after that. But yeah, we just don't know quite yet. But here's the first Overlord kill. And that's an armory, I believe. Oh, eBay. And what was... Oh, the bottom one then was... Ooh! And he gets 2 in. Oh, there is a Hydra, though. That's so important.
Can he keep it alive?
Ooh, the flank of the drones was fantastic. But you know what? He killed like 3 drones there. And he sees, he sees a couple Hydras. Here comes in the Wraith. This is a solid 1-1-1 opening so far. It's hard to say 1-1-1s too many times.
1-1-1.
Whoa!
It's not hard at all.
Damn, maybe Protoss players are just superior.
It's hard to say 1-3 times. I'm like, it is not. Can't let you just get away with that.
We can't let you get away with that. I was trying to pull a fast one on everyone. Everything I do is hard.
With Hydra's coming out here, that's Hydra's speed, right?
No.
Am I crazy? Okay, I guess I'm completely insane. I thought they actually had the speed upgrade for a second.
No, well, I mean, he might end up going for it. I don't think that's Hydra speed, but...
no, it probably isn't.
Yeah,
it would make no sense. Like, you don't want that Lurker upgrade. That's not very good.
But he's going into Science Vessels. There are a few Mutas, a few Scourge being made. I don't think he's going to commit too heavily with anything here. Like, he's going to go get some scouting. The Mutas will tank, and he'll try to pick off a Vessel if possible.
Hold on, he's going to have Lurkers set up right outside this entrance very quickly.
Is he?
He's going to have 4 Hydras out there. He's making Lings. I think he's going to bust.
It's actually a Hydra bust, I think.
The Hydras have speed. How do we not know this for sure?
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Dude, it's hard when watching a game. No, that's not speed. That's regular. Oh, he's going Hydra Lurker?
Yeah, that's what I think. Well, I think he's going Ling Lurker.
Ling Lurker, yeah. Like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Is he going Mass Overlords? Why does he have so many drones?
Yeah, it's going to be 4 Lurkers with Lings. So it was designed to look like it's going to be the Muta play. But I think the small number of Mutas kind of gives this away. And Terran's been very diligent about scouting. But I'll tell you what. You get enough Lurkers and Lings, you just burrow right in front of here.
Well, the thing is, he has a factory with an add-on. As long as he can repair this bunker. Oh, repair! He went way too far!
Oh, bro, the other Lurker!
Oh, he gets it! Oh, my God. And now Rush probably loses.
Yeah, no, I think so. He just needs to get on top of production.
Yeah, the Lings coming in is what's going to do it. Like, the Siege Tank could end up killing off the Lurkers, but not with this many Lings in here. And it looks like Larva's too good at starting.
Larva's the better player and moves on. Look at that tank it's surrounded. Oh, I just got put in this world. Yeah, that, I think, should be the fatal blow.
Yeah,
more Lings will come in, more Lurkers will be made. And,
solid kill.
I mean,
solid kill.
Yeah.
Look, he's standing with 3 vessels. Do you know how useless those are right now?
Yeah, they're like, all right, just give it some time. The Radiate's coming.
Well, this can happen, right?
GG.
Like, Rush played a pretty greedy way. Like, he ran past with his Speed Vultures multiple times.
Right.
He went 1 Wraith into Mass Science Vessel with mostly anti-muta, and he just got punished. That's all there is to it.
Look at Rush. He is feeling the stress. A frustrating loss.
It is. You never want to lose like that, where it's like, if you have any idea that's coming, you smash it and win the game.
That only works if the Terran isn't ready. I mean, if you see it's coming, you have 3 bunkers there.
Yeah.
and you laugh. You laugh so hard,
Yeah.
it almost kills you.
Instead here, you don't laugh at all and you get killed.
Yeah. But you could see, honestly, I mean, Rush is wearing the stress on his face.
Yeah.
This guy wears his heart on his sleeve here.
Well,
And
that was...
you can see the adrenaline going through Larva. He says, all right, I got him. One more. Let's go.
It's very likely, by the way, Tastosis, that was his most prepped build in the whole match because
probably.
that's the most complicated build you can do as Terran. So that was probably what he spent most time practicing, and unfortunately, he gets wiped.
Yeah.
Doesn't even get to make a game of it.
We're going to be going to a short break, but when we come back, it's Game 4 in this best of 5. Larva keeping the 2-1 lead with a very tricky Ling Lurker attack there.
양념 툭툭, 올리브유 또르르. 우와, 그리고 제로. 너무 좋다. 맛은 배로, 칼로리는 제로. 칠성사이다 제로.
디자인을 하면서 가장 중요하게 생각했던 부분은 울트라 기어의 차별화된 브랜드 메시지를 잘 나타내는 것입니다. 신과 영웅들의 최강의 무기들을 검토하였습니다. 그중 니케의 승리의 날개를 모티브로 지금의 울트라 기어의 로고가 탄생하게 되었습니다. 울트라 기어의 이니셜인 U와 G를 비상하는 날개의 형상으로 레드 색상을 사용하여 강력한 에너지와 힘을 나타내었습니다. 울트라 기어는 최상의 퍼포먼스로 진정한 게임의 즐거움, 승리의 기쁨을 여러분께 선사할 것입니다.
관리받다. 관리하지 않는 순간에도 관리받다. 14일 동안 정성껏 발효한 브루잉 콤부차로 관리받다. 브루잉 콤부차.
숙취 요즘 누가 저렇게 깨니? 맨날 똑같은 거, 맛없는 거 깨. 이제 탄산으로 깨. 숙취 해소의 새로운 기준. 가스강. 환도 역시 가스강이 대세.
야채 착착, 당토 톡톡, 아보카도 슥슥, 그리고 제로. 이렇게 맛있다고? 맛은 배로, 칼로리는 제로. 칠성사이다 제로.
아이시스 에코. 오늘 내룩의 찰떡.
마시고 분리수거 끝.
많은 분들이 아이시스 에코를 따르고 있습니다.
이것도 라벨이 없네?
무라벨은 따라해도 대환영. 팔로우디 에코. 아이시스 에코.
울트라 기어로 부드럽게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
Welcome back to the ASL. It's time for Game 4. Larva, I think, with a very successful and crafty lurkerling push, basically uprooted the position that Rush was trying to get into, and there's no way to come back from there.
No,
you're on top of production when there's one barracks and one factory with lurkerling. Time to go to the next game.
And like I mentioned, that's probably his most prepped build for the entire night. 1-1-1s are the most complicated TVZ openers.
Yeah.
So that's extremely rough. He got completely destroyed there.
Fighting Spirit, a classic StarCraft Brood War map, is going to be the stage for Fight 4. Larva right now just needs one more win. He's shown quite the range of play. Rush has looked strong, but so far he is behind in this race to get 3 wins and move on to the round of 4.
Your opponent, Tastosis, yes. He is behind this race.
He is behind.
3 wins and
we
move
have to
ahead
talk
at
about the
round of 4.
same thing over and over and over again, and somehow you got to make it sound different. something
Yeah,
ASL
great
Season
job.
11. I think this is one of the better named maps.
Are you kidding me?
Fighting
Every
Spirit.
Terran against Zerg, they've been bottom left.
Oh, I thought you were
Every
gonna say-
time.
I thought you were going to argue with me on the map name. I'm like, really? You're like that upset by the name Fighting Spirit? I was like, okay, psycho. Like, I don't know what we're doing here.
I'm definitely a psycho, but not for that. Not
no,
for that.
You'd be a psycho for being very angry that I said that. I'm like, I don't know. I felt like that was one of the safer things I've said.
Yeah. No, I'm in shock.
Yeah, this is a bad
Literally,
spot for Terran.
in the whole tournament, every Terran has been bottom left, and this spot is so significantly worse than the other ones. Man. Not this season. ASL map data. Zerg has, I think, 3-0 so far against Terran on this map this season. But yeah, anyways, a lot of that map data is actually from a much older metagame where it was 3 hatchery Zerg.
Right.
Because we were using Fighting Spirit during that metagame, where it was 5 racks plus 1 against 3 hatch Muta, like every game, and that's a very different play than the 2 hatch that exists now. But we'll see what they open with, right?
Right, sure. Let's wait and find out. So we've had a lot of games casted on this map. If it's going to look normal, ZVT, it's going to be Zerg taking another main, putting lurkers at the ramp. Terran probably going 5 racks, is that correct?
Oh, well, you
Or
don't
does it
go 5
depend?
racks against 2 hatchery. You can go up to 4. You can't go 5.
But so you go 5 hacks, five racks against 3 hatch? Is that
Yes,
the play? Okay,
that's
I
right.
actually didn't know that.
You
That
don't-
seems like a really basic rule, but I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
basically, you can't afford 5 racks against 2 hatchery play because then you won't be able to afford any turrets. The mutas come too quickly. So you don't have that extra economy you need.
I don't think we're going to have a lurker bust again.
No.
I don't think we're going to even have any cheese again.
No.
This is a map, especially for as these guys rose up in prominence. This map was played on a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Probably
lot.
the most popular map of the last 10 years or so.
I would say so.
Yeah, before that,
We had a few-
Python, before that.
Probably Lost Temple.
Yeah.
We're
That's
really
kinda
going to go
crazy.
back. Maybe Luna. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Luna was
Um,
pretty big for a while.
A lot of those maps not really playable anymore.
No, they certainly are not.
Well, I wouldn't mind as a Protoss player having another Python in the map pool. I would not be complaining.
No, I
Not
remember
much of a
playing on
headache
that.
of a map
No,
with
if that
this-
map was
yeah.
around nowadays, oh my god, that map.
Yeah.
Oh my, it's not even playable.
You
We used to
could- you
play on
can't
that
get a
map
third.
all day, every day.
Yeah, well, we played on Lost Temple before that.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, damn. He dropped siege tanks on my cliff above my natural that I have on my natural base. This is ridiculous. Good thing I always got a shuttle so I could bring Dragoons up here, only so they could be killed by tanks and Marines.
Yeah, it's very true.
Nothing sadder than trying to micro 2 Dragoons up and down a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the games where you get the shuttle ready on Lost Temple to discover they don't even drop you. You're like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. I guess I am just behind now.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Jungle Story, which wasn't played a lot on, but was maybe one of the greatest crimes against humanity that ever came to be. That was another terrible map.
Yeah, good old WCG map, that one.
Yeah, there's been some bad maps. We pretty much have overall good understanding of how to make a good map now.
Yeah, the old days, some maps were just so Like, there's a terrible positional imbalance here where the bottom left is just worse. But compared to some of the older maps, you remember Paranoid Android? That map?
That's a 1v1 map, right?
Yes.
You both share the top
blue
right.
map. Yes. And that map, the right-hand spawn as opposed to the top spawn, mined like 40% slower. It was insane. It was just so imbalanced. And that was in WCG for years.
WCG was, unbeknownst to them, definitely keeping a lot of maps that were completely detrimental to the game into the map pool.
Okay, we just had the first important thing of the game happen.
Please.
So this has all been very standard up here, just a walled expansion, 2 racks opener here from Rush. That's super standard for this matchup. Now, Larva just threw down his 3rd hatchery in the main. It's a 2-hatchery Mutalisk opener, but 3rd hatchery in the main. This will allow him to do much more with the mutas. If you make the 3rd hatch at a 3rd base, which is a more common thing to do right now,
right,
then your mutas, we were talking about it, where I'm like, the mutas have to come out here and dog the Marines, basically, right?
Yeah.
In this situation where your 3rd hatchery is in your main base, it's more of a macro hatchery. You only have 1 location to defend. That's your natural.
Okay.
So your mutas can be a little bit more aggressive. Now, it looks like he might throw down an additional hatchery over at 3 o'clock. He has a drone there. That would be very peculiar, and we can talk about that if it occurs. But
it does not. He
turns
pulls it away.
Okay,
so
because I was like,
wow.
wow.
To try to expand to. You don't normally see Zergs ever expand to the 12, 3, 6, or 9 o'clock spots.
The thing is, he could, but not after making a hatch in his main.
No.
It's like doesn't compute.
No, you're doing 2 things that can't.
He might have had it
occupy
there.
the same decision tree at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, being able to dive a little bit more heavily with the mutas is an important concept here, especially considering Rush is the bottom left. If you have more time to micro against the bottom of those mineral patches at the bottom left, natural, you're going to get a lot more damage done. So we'll see if that's what Larva ends up going for. Some turrets going up. Rush, okay, he has 3 racks right now. I like how he's doing it. He's putting a lot of turrets down to start. He wants to make sure the mutas on the first pass do nothing. Building that 2nd turret at the bottom.
So
Yeah, very good placement on everything.
Yeah, here come those Mutalisks now. And, I mean, I think the 2nd turret finishes just in the nick of time. Somehow it finishes itself. You saw it. It's a StarCraft 2 building.
That's a Protoss
worker
turret.
dies, and then you watch all the building pieces come together.
Yeah.
Yes, he's like, I just got to put this one plank here, and it'll slide into place. And so the mutas can't do that much. He sees the 3rd hatch.
Yeah, see, that scan was off-center on purpose because he was like, I can't find your 3rd base. Do you have a 3rd hatch in the main?
Right.
Now, these mutas, like I mentioned, can spend more time here. It's those bottom right patches that are really hard to defend. Flies into the main. No, you want to stay away from those Marines.
Well, he's keeping the Terran back at least.
Yep. And he is taking his 3rd base up at the top left.
Hasn't been scanned yet, but you know this is happening somewhere on the map.
Yeah, more scans going down. He's trying to check, like, are you making mutas still? Are you making drones? What's going on? Notice how the SCVs keep getting pulled to the top there. It's because it's so easy for the mutas to pick them off at the bottom patches. So he's trying to keep his SCVs alive, but he's losing a lot of economy every time that Larva comes in, whether or not he's losing SCVs.
Exactly. Marines continue to threaten a possible push on the map, but now the mutas may try to take a fight somewhere. Great SCV scout here. Not even needing a scan.
Important. So important.
And there's no Hydras over there. Keep in mind, it's a long crawl for the Hydra to get across the top right to the top left. And without lurkers over there, there is the possibility Rush could just battering ram his way through the ram.
He just scanned the natural and saw Lings pop out of the hatch.
Yeah.
That's a really important tell. That tells you that Larva is going to be either looking for a battle or a backstab. So you got to be very careful with your army movement right now, because if you lose an army, Larva's going to the round of 4. Okay, Ling's coming for that backstab. Here we go. The Ling's getting in on top. Oh, skip the turrets. They're going to go up into the main base. Picking off this turret here, going after those Marines now. Look, it's the whole army trying to come back. Oh, good glitching with those SCVs. The Zerglings actually are getting cleaned up pretty well. That was pretty solid defense, I would say. But it does buy him time in the top left, too.
Yeah, Terrence pulled all the way back to the spawn locations of the Marines. More mutas coming up. I think there's a very realistic chance that this third base cannot be stopped. It's just going to finish.
Yeah, I think so.
And we're going to go into mid-game TVZ here.
Now, Rush got an add-on on his factory and only one starport. So he might be trying some sort of very strong tank push before Defiler. It's not a very common build, but, I mean, that doesn't mean you can't use it, right? No. You don't normally see people try to do tank pushes in this day and age, but we'll see. A lot of mutas trying to fly in. This is over a group of mutas. So he's just looking for Marines not to be there, and then he will annihilate the turrets in 2 seconds. Yeah, Siege Tank is out, going into Science Vessels as well. So this will probably be 2 tanks with Siege Mode, moving with a huge amount of Marines and Irradiate out across the map. He's going to want to probably try to hit an Irradiate before he goes to.
This is so funny. Is he going to
Oh, no.
Oh, gets the tank. Can he get the second tank? Oh, my God. These Marines are what?
Well,
I mean,
okay, that... He lost a lot of mutas to do that.
Yeah, that was not the cleanest attack, but he did get rid of the tanks, which are sort of one of the key pieces of the puzzle here. But losing that many mutas, maybe Terran can just come out and fight.
Yeah, and he lost enough mutas that I think that was actually better for Rush. If you lose those 2 tanks, but he retains most of the mutas, you might just die. But here, like, there's nothing at top left.
Right.
His Bioforce can't be stopped by these bruised mutas. These mutas are good for almost nothing, man.
Yeah, they're all so weak that a few shots and they die. Production really ramping up here for Rush. The Lurkers running to the ramp. They need to morph into Lurkers on the ramp. The eggs can block. All the Marines in the game are probably not going to kill Lurkers on high ground on the ramp. And therefore, you basically save it. Actually kills one Marine, I think, to free up supply for a second.
It could have been or just a misclick when he was attack moving out.
The Marine just self-destructed.
Yeah, he's moving super fast right now. He's at over 400 APM. All right, he has a tank moving out. The sling's not really going to be that helpful. He's got a big group of Marines right now. Yeah, the double Lurkers on the ramp. He'll have a couple of Irradiates, though. He's going to have 2 Irradiates. I think he's going to break him, Tastosis.
Yeah, I think you're right, Artosis.
Honestly, I'd put an Irradiate down on the mutas. Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Perfect.
And he just has to wait for that one Lurker to die. The Siege Tank can fire up into the high ground. Oh, this is so low. He's going to just get the kill.
Yeah.
Oh, tank's missing, but it will eventually go down. There it is. And this, I think, is going to be the tipping point. I think the Nidus dies. I think the third dies. I think the Zerg is going to be out of luck. We do have a counterattack setting up here, but the SCV spots it. Rush is just on top of everything, playing one of the cleanest TVCs we've ever seen.
Ooh, a Defiler going across the map, though. This is the one thing that could screw up everything. You're very low on vessels because you went Siege Tanks.
Right.
So this, he knows this is so important. He is going home immediately with this army.
Oh my God.
That Defiler is everything for Larva.
Consumed done? It is.
Oh,
it is.
And he has got to just dive on this Defiler.
Oh my God,
it
it's
is worth
stuck.
All right, he gets a Dark Storm off. It looks like he forces the Defiler back. Okay, so he did it. He held. Obviously, kind of a nice little position.
Well,
more Defilers. All right, gets one.
He has enough there, like material-wise. He can consume and then leapfrog into the natural, and this is the only point of resource mining that Terran's going to have. The main is going to mine out momentarily here.
Yeah, he needs Irradiates on those. He is making a lot of Fire Bats. It's worth it to make only Fire Bats here.
Yeah, Fire Bats aren't great under Dark Swarm, but they are sometimes the emergency lever you pull here.
Ooh.
4 Lurkers, though, can kill a Fire Bat before it can actually touch anything. Okay, now this is where it gets scary. The only thing Terran can do besides brace for impact and damage in the natural is keep these Marines out here to intercept more Lurkers over here.
Yeah, he just needs to not let anything up, and this will eventually evaporate this army.
So many SCVs being killed.
It's a lot of
damage.
damage. It is a lot.
We may see one Defiler eat another Defiler here.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Fire Bat's going to get on top of everything. Oh, you notice how the Defilers are actually blocking the bats?
Yeah.
Ouch. Because he had enough bounce.
When Artosis says, you notice they're doing that, and then he just shook his head like, ugh.
Yeah, well, he actually had enough Fire Bats to kill those 2 Lurkers, and then the Defiler's like made it so the bats couldn't connect, and here we are. Okay, finally he's going to clear this out.
I think that Terran in the big long run, if he can hold off this next attack, excuse me, I think Terran can win.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be easy. A lot of SCVs were picked off.
It's anyone's game right now.
Yeah.
I actually think Rush is slightly ahead right now.
I think you're correct because that third base isn't done. I didn't even realize this tank wasn't here. How funny is that? I guess you might as well keep something to stop workers from coming back up there.
Now, right now,
this is a bait.
Ooh,
he's debating
my God. Okay, it's a lot of lurkerlings, but I don't see any defilers with it.
Yeah, but I think he gets the burrow off.
Yeah, he's going to get the burrow off.
And he's going to be able to bottleneck the ramp.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
No,
the SCVs are just getting crushed.
I don't know about this, man. I mean, Terran's lost a lot of workers. Terran's going to come in here now, and these lurker shots are really getting premium damage. The one firebat from behind is a hero. It just seems like there's so much that everything Terran had sort of got whittled down to, you know, a handful of Marines. And again, you know, it's kind of a funny thing when you have too many medics and Marines and firebats where like everything starts to get clunky.
Yeah.
If Zerg can attack in there again, I think Larva 3-1's this. I think Zerg's actually in the lead.
Yeah, now he is.
Because we don't have a counter here, but I know a lot of SCVs have been killed. Yeah, I think there's probably an SCV for each patch.
Yeah,
like it's a ZVZ or something.
He's definitely taken a lot of economic damage, but he's got 2 upgrades. He's got a lot of vessels. He still has a shot in this game.
Tastosis.
Like it comes down a lot to irradiates.
Ooh. All right, he's got enough lurkers he can buy time. Look at the center left of the mini map. Oh, it's just lings. I thought there were lurkers here too. Just lings. I think that you can actually handle this.
Yeah, with the firebats there, he just slaughters this.
Okay.
A drop is going to the main, and he's busting this bottom right, Tasteless. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. He loses that. But I think that Terran can actually avoid the lurker shots and just kill this. He's going to go ahead and gobble up one of these lings. Dark Swarm down here, but these are 2 irradiated lurkers. They're not going to be lasting more than a few seconds before this is a free base to try to pounce on.
Yeah, Rush looking a little bit better now. He's held off everything. There is an expansion up at 12. I think he's going to bust this one. Larva just doesn't have very much left. There's a couple firebats really being ridiculous heroes here. Target's down under the Dark Swarm, the Nidus, so that's going to be the end of defense at this base. And as long as he micros well, he will kill this off.
Yeah, I think now the Zerg has basically been brought to its knees. I think this Nidus is going to go down. The Defiler's killed off, and Rush wins 2-2. Woo! And honestly, what was such a close and epic TVZ there. And I think Larva really showed how dangerous he is as a player.
Yeah.
He lost his third, which is usually one of the most basic ways to lose a game in ZVT, but he had an ingenious counterattack that really made Rush work.
Yeah.
To get in there.
Well, getting a Defiler into the natural does so much. And then even the second lurker attack was pretty darn strong. But, you know, if Terran retains their vessels and has been getting upgrades and can still kind of mine on 2... You can stay on 2 bases for a very long time in Terran vs. Zerg.
Yeah, you can kind of just ride it out. I think that some of this kind of goes back to those Mutas being whittled down. They got 2 tank kills, but I think he traded something like 4 or 5 Mutalisks in the fight.
Oh, I think he traded, like 5 or 6 and
really?
took a lot of damage. Killing the 2 tanks can win the game sometimes.
This has been...
But, there when he lost that top left base, that was it.
This has been an emotional series for these 2. Only one's going to take it. I don't know who it's going to be, but we're going to be going to our final map, and it's going to be, I think, such an exciting game to see. Is it going to be... Are we going to have a Terran, I should say, in the Final Four? Is it going to be another Zerg? Is it going to be one of these Star Leagues where it's just very top-heavy for one race? It's going to come down to how well Rush can play.
I know, right? In Map 5.
Yeah.
And Map 5 is going to be Polaris Rhapsody, which I will talk a lot more about after this quick commercial break.
디자인하면서 가장 중요하게 생각했던 부분은 울트라 기어의 차별화된 브랜드 메시지를 잘 나타내는 것입니다. 신과 영웅들의 최강의 무기들을 검토하였습니다. 그중 니케의 승리의 날개를 모티브로 지금의 울트라 기어의 로고가 탄생하게 되었습니다. 울트라 기어의 이니셜인 U와 G를 비상하는 날개의 형상으로 레드 색상을 사용하여 강력한 에너지와 힘을 나타내었습니다. 울트라 기어는 최상의 퍼포먼스로 진정한 게임의 즐거움, 승리의 기쁨을 여러분께 선사할 것입니다.
관리받다. 관리하지 않는 순간에도 관리받다. 14일 동안 정성껏 발효한 브루잉 콤부차로 관리받다. 브루잉 콤부차.
야채 착착, 당토 톡톡, 아보카도 슥슥, 그리고 제로. 이렇게 맛있다고? 맛은 배로, 칼로리는 제로. 칠성사이다 제로.
아이시스 에코 오늘 내룩의 찰떡.
마시고 분리수거 끝.
많은 분들이 아이시스 에코를 따르고 있습니다.
이것도 라벨이 없네?
무라벨은 따라해도 대환영. 팔로우디 에코 아이시스 에코.
숙취 요즘 누가 저렇게 깨니? 맨날 똑같은 거, 맛없는 거 깨. 이제 탄산으로 깨. 숙취 해소의 새로운 기준. 가스강. 환도 역시 가스강이 대세.
울트라 기어로 선명하게 이긴다. LG 울트라 기어 게이밍 모니터.
I'm getting tingles. I don't know who's going to take this. This has been such a great TVZ. Honestly, it's been the best fight in the round of 8.
Yeah. It is right now,
we had some... Well, we've only been upgrading, I guess, as we get to each phase here of the round of 8 and the bracket. But I don't know who takes this. You can feel the tension here. Both, every loss hits each player so hard. They both know either one is capable of doing this. They're playing their hearts out. Right now, Rush, one of the newer Terrans and one of the last... Well, I mean, he's the last Terran left here. He's kind of carrying the race right now, just like Mini is on the other side. I think that, honestly, Rush has played a really smart series, but I think in some ways Larva's playing a little bit better RTS, if that makes sense. He's doing a pretty good job with counterattacks. He's kind of dragging the game out when he needs to.
I agree. I think Larva's actually playing better.
I think he's playing a little bit better, but it's all going to come down to this final game. Polaris Rhapsody's our map. Either another Zerg or the only Terran move on to the final 4 here. Let's find out who.
So we have Larva in the top left. Means, of course, Rush going to be in the bottom right.
You can feel the tension, though, right?
Yes.
Look at these guys. Like, they are so
this is
focused in. Nobody's had any room to breathe. It's been back and forth.
And if you go forward here, there is a non-zero chance you win. This isn't one of those brackets where you have Flash in it, and you're like, well, I'm still going to lose, but like maybe I can get a round of 4. And if you get round of 4, you're ahead of a group for group selection in the round of 16. A lot of top-end players... The season before, like, Queen won ASL, he didn't even qualify for it. That's how hard it is to even qualify, okay? So, like, neither of these guys, if one of them loses, neither of them are guaranteed to get through the qualifiers. They probably will because they're that good, but shit happens, Tasteless.
Shit happens, man.
Now, I need to talk about Polaris Rhapsody a little bit. Wow, that's a very forward evo.
When he kept coming out, I'm like, is he going to...
Oh, you know what? I think there's a Zergling tight wall that he can make with that, I believe. Anyways, Polaris Rhapsody.
Yes.
This is another map where it's very hard for a Zerg player to take a 4th gas. Generally, the 3rd base that they will take is the little pocket one. We see it at 9 and over at 3. So Larva will probably end up taking the one that is over at 9. Oh, that's not going to be tight. No, that's
you don't say.
No,
there's
that's awfully
definitely
big. That's a weird placement on that. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's very intentional. So let's see how it kind of builds out.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of these really funny-looking walls turn out to be a lot better. You got to keep in mind that the rule system in place for walling in Brood War is unnecessarily difficult, counterintuitive, and convoluted.
Yes.
And really requires you to just kind of know. Kind of like in Tekken, if you don't know how to stop certain grabs with a grappler, like, you just lose the game. Like, you just have to know exactly how to do it.
Okay.
The walls are like that with Brood War. Like, you just have to know, okay, this wall stops this. This
you do
wall,
have to know.
It's not something you can intuit. StarCraft 2, they fixed that up quite a bit. But yeah, there's a chance that as we see the final structure plug this in, it turns out it's fully tight. Yeah, you can almost see he's checking. Can I get a drone through here? Did you see that?
Yeah.
He kept them. He tried to twice bounce it through.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he did check, but it could have been a glitch as well. That is tight, I guess, isn't it?
So that's why.
It didn't look like I thought that would be the placement, but then I looked at it again. It looked too far away. I tell you, Brood War is really.
It's so weird.
I play so much, and like that was hard to see. But look, okay, the big thing here is how do you get that additional 4th gas for Larva? Is he going to play a cheesy strategy because of that? On Polaris Rhapsody, the strategy that I've seen be the most effective for Zerg players is Crazy Zerg, because you can last longer on 3 gas and have more play on 3 gas than anything else.
Go ahead and unpack Crazy Zerg in this poorly named playstyle that you refer to. What is Crazy Zerg?
So Crazy Zerg, I didn't name it. Crazy Zerg is you open mutas and you get a quick evolution chamber for carapace upgrades, and you go directly into ultras. So it's the only units that you make are mutas, lings, and ultras.
Yeah, you basically tech leap, so to speak.
Yeah, if you skip Lurker and Defiler, it banks you enough gas to go Ultra and just get carapace upgrades. So you'll basically be on... It'll be Muta to kind of keep the Terran back and harass them and keep them busy, into Ling Ultra, and then you actually get a big presence once you get the 2 carapace upgrades off the Evolution Chamber, as well as the chitinous plating and ultralisk speed, right? Once you have all that together, that's when you start thinking about taking your 4th base, and you just try to outmaneuver the Terran. That's the strategy I've seen work best on this map, in my opinion. I think that's what Larva should do, but we'll see. Like, I mean, he's a smart guy. He'll have a plan here.
I do wonder when you see a wall in that's this jutted out. Is there some way you could punish this? I guess not. I guess it's too late now, but we saw that lurker attack earlier on at the entrance. We've seen Jaedong do the Hydra bust to Terran against Flash that actually won that game. I just wonder if when you see this, is there... And maybe I'm partially mentioning this because of that game with Snow, where he made a battery and Zerg's like, oh, I can just kill you now.
It can be punished. The thing is, it's another place you have to defend, right? Generally in Terran vs. Zerg, you're trying to keep the places that you have to defend from mutas to a minimum. Your natural, your main, and your barracks, right? So that's 3 areas that need turrets. This is a 4th. So it's a little bit annoying, but a lot of times what will happen is you have 1 turret there, and you'll have 4 barracks when you do something like this because you were able to skimp. You didn't need to make a bunker or anything. And then you have enough Marines to threaten a counterattack, which keeps the mutas off the depots. That's the theory behind it, but sometimes you'll just lose the depots because the Zerg will play a little bit better than you and just kill them off. And see, there's the 4 barracks. So he's going to be keeping that heavy pressure on. And we'll see if that works out for him.
Bunker coming down.
Okay. And look at this from... Oh, Larva. Okay, so hold on. He's making some mutas, but he's going a very quick Hydralisk Den and a very, very, very quick 4th hatchery in his main base.
I don't even know what to make of this.
Yeah,
do you? I feel like this is very in the middle of everything.
I think what he's trying to do, he's bringing out mutas. These are going to scout and force the turrets. But right now, Rush should be thinking, wait a minute, that's only 2 mutas. All right, we heard another scan. It was probably on the 3rd base.
Wait.
Oh, no, he scanned actually the macro hatchery, and he saw the Hydralisk Den. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the strategy is from Larva. Maybe he just wants quick lurker to make sure his 3rd stays alive.
Yeah, I don't know.
The macro hatch, though, is what's throwing me off.
It seems to be very in between a lot of stuff, right?
Yes, it does.
It's very neither here nor there.
He's not optimizing anything except maybe powering into more unit production to take fights. It's the only thing that
could work.
Yeah.
A Terran that's tempted into fighting too early can end up getting into an unwinnable position. But Terran's moving out now. Clearly, I think rightfully so, not respecting what Zerg's shown so far, saying, okay, you're going to cut corners. You're going to have to deal with my pressure.
Making a couple sunks right there. He does do some scans into the natural and into the 3rd. Those are perfect locations to see what is being made out of these hatcheries to prevent his attack. He really wants to hit that 3rd, but with the 2 Sunkens up and this many Mutaling, I feel like he needs maybe 1 reinforcement.
You could be right.
Yeah, I think he needs 1 reinforcement. He can't attack the Sunks. All right, Lurker's on the way. Ooh, dude, this is tense. My heart is actually beating really quick.
Well, this is a Terran that's actually kind of been cut loose and is now on the map because Zerg got a little bit corner cutty, as they say.
Corner cutty.
Corner cutty.
All right, another reinforcement towards the natural. You know what, Tasteless? The amount of Marines he's going to have at that natural is going to be pretty high.
Larva's about to get blindsided here.
Ooh.
He thinks he's pinning this, but now watch. The dive's going to come in. We need a scan.
Oh, my God. He is diving so hard. The Mutas are actually going to town here, but he kills that off. He's going to lose everything.
Yeah, he just doesn't have enough. I think the idea was there. I think even though he killed that lurker, it was just enough. And, Zergs are so good at basically absorbing damage like that and bouncing back. And
well, that's what you want as Zerg. You want them to spend their army on you. The game isn't over. Okay,
No.
Larva is at an advantage right now.
I'd say a pretty good advantage.
A pretty good advantage.
It's not unwinnable, you're right,
Yeah.
but yeah, exactly. The Zerg wants to absorb a blow like that because you're basically making Medic Marine the whole game. So to just chunk out any bit of that, and keep in mind, although a Lurker was killed, it was just 1, and most of the mutas remain.
Yeah.
So
Zerg actually didn't get that much done.
Zerg has not given up any of the tools at their disposal to play the matchup here. And now, I don't see anything to defend other than a turret, which Larva was ignoring for a little bit because it was honestly not effective at all.
And now he's abusing the Comstat location.
Yeah, it's hard to get Marines around these corners here.
Oh, boy. Oh boy, Tasteless. I am not feeling good about Rush here.
I think that Rush, he made the same mistake that we saw in Game 1 where he basically thought he saw an opportunity, and Larva's just too resilient of a player to let that happen. I mean, he controlled that perfectly, whittled that down. The problem now is that you're seeing the Marines get killed one by one.
Yeah. And he's run the SCVs. He's lost a huge amount of SCVs. The mutas don't even mean anything. He doesn't even need them anymore. That wasn't that wasn't a very good attack. And he loses most of the mutas. Like, this is getting worse, but you know what? The Hive just started. The drone count isn't that high. There's still a small chance here for Rush. I really like the position for Larva, but it's still, you know, there's still things that can be done. He can go into his vessels and try to get something done. The mutas are mostly dead. Maybe he wants to try dropship play. That's a good comeback mechanic for Terran.
Yeah, the mutas are going to be gathering up here. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think the dropship play is going to work.
Well, dropship play is a little bit coin flippy.
Yeah, well, it's kind
you're
of
like, well, if they don't get it, it's really good, but if they do, it's terrible.
It's different from like harassing with like a speed shuttle and a reaver or something, where it's like, well, this is kind of okay on its own. Even with Scourge and mutas out on the map, you can kind of avoid stuff.
Yeah.
The dropship is like you're trying to hole-in-one the game, basically.
Kind of, yeah. Well, okay, so Rush is starting to move out. He's down in supply. Obviously, that's bad. I think that a big chunk of that is the amount of SCVs that he lost, though. Just to throw that out there. All right, some Lings trying to run by. Comes in with those mutas. There are a couple turrets. Not the best placed I've ever seen. Not the best micro I've ever seen there either.
Yeah,
but
I think Larva's done a little bit of miscontrolling here, but you know the problem is that the Terran is matted into his base. And so we need to see Terran kind of move out. Zerg has not outgrown the Terran, though, we should note. We don't have a fourth base up here, and Terran's struggling to get by.
Oh, I'm surprised he didn't lose his first vessel.
Kind of a nice change of pace.
Yeah, maybe he can win. Okay, so...
Ooh, this is a great surround. He's going to completely wreck this. Yeah, this is great Marine control. He just knew exactly how to push through.
I thought he was going to lose more than that.
Well, it can be tricky, right? Because sometimes the Marine shots miss. You never truly know for sure. But, yeah, he did a beautiful job there. But, again, Larva's got plenty of lurkers.
Yeah, we saw some Hydra sitting there. This could be Hydra Lurker again.
Oh, I'd be surprised if it is.
I don't think it is, but...
Well, there's too many lurkers, it looks like, for it to be Hydra Lurker.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like this is a good map for Hydra Lurker, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
this
no,
is Ling Lurker.
It's Ling Lurker. Okay, so there's a lot of lurkers, so he's not going to be able to break anything, but he can gain value with his vessels while he kind of rebuilds his economy. Look at the base that Larva has taken, bottom left.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Extremely sneaky. You do not expect that because if you figure out that it's there, it's dead 100%.
You're basically expanding under the Terran's nose.
Yeah. Now, it looks like he's prepping a very strong counterattack, maybe? And notice how his whole army is way over on the other side, kind of zoning out any attacks to the top right as well, which is where you expect him to be. Kind of a lot of little things going on. Okay, irradiates the Defiler. Most important thing that you can do here. Comes up with the Marines, slows them down. I like it. All right, Rush, I mean, he's doing some things very well. He's moving around the map well. He's hitting his irradiates. He's retaining his vessels. But that bottom left base, if he loses this, that's going to be part of the reason. That and obviously the core attack we saw before.
I will say that Rush has a real threat on the map here, but I'm worried that Zerg has more opportunities going on. Terran's roaming, but you can see the Larva's kind of moving around all this. And he may set up for the same counterattack. This is so down and dirty. Look at the two lurkers there in the mineral patches. I would have missed that if I was playing as Terran. But he's going to go for...
Oh, he's so out of position right now, Tasteless.
Yeah, he's going to go in here and just drop right on top of the entry point. Miscontrol with the lurkers for sure there, but I guess anything under the Dark Swarm will suffice.
Yeah.
And I think that this is going to be what allows Larva to win the game, because unlike the game that Larva lost, where he did this and succeeded, in this game, Larva's going to be on 4 bases, Terran's about to be on 1.
Now, there's a lot of vessels coming back. He did find the bottom left, so he might be able to kill that off. But it looks like he's trying to come up the ramp right now. We don't see a Dark Storm up there yet. And is he going to actually get one? He has a good amount of irradiate, so look at the amount of vessels.
I mean, here's the thing, man.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh,
there's so many workers. I don't think he's noticed yet. I think he's just busy micromanaging this attack down here.
Oh, my God.
He's going to run the ramp.
Doing so much right now.
He's going to try to abuse the bottleneck here. He's going to run into the storm. Oh, my God. They both get in there.
Oh, this is bad.
And this is a right click or two away from the Terran having literally his economy in shambles.
Yeah, Rush.
The SCVs can't get out.
No, they're trapped.
GG. Larva did it. Wow, what a close series. Oh, man, you can see how relieved he is.
Man. Well, good job to him. Holds on. I got to give Larva props. I think he seriously outplayed Rush in this series. We saw Rush making attacks that just could not work, like in that game, right? When he tried to bust the single lurker, it just moves like that. Like, Terrans lose games all day making those moves where they're just trying to pick up a victory right off the bat. And Larva kept his patience, kept his cool, did the pushes, and here he is in the round of 4 once again. I really didn't expect him to make it back, to be honest, but well done.
Well, you know, this means a lot to him. I mean, he's one of the newer generation players, along with Rush, to be honest. But he's done it. He's in the Final Four. Larva's a very tricky ZDZ opponent, by the way.
Yeah.
Congrats to Larva. I'm very impressed. A sad season for Terran.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of those coming in tasteless, unfortunately.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go, guys.
So we've got 1 Protoss and 3 Zergs in the Final Four. Sometimes one race is just the dominant one in a season. This time it's Zerg, but, you know, don't count Mini out. He's got a very modern approach to the matchup, one that I think a lot of Zergs struggle with. Let's go to an interview now with Larva and see how he's feeling. He has done it. He has got to the Final Four of ASL 2021 Season 11.
ASL 시즌11 8강 마지막 경기 함께 하셨습니다. 마지막 4강 진출자가 탄생했는데요. 풀세트 접전 끝에 치열한 경기 끝에 승리를 거두고 4강에 올라간 이몽규 선수 만나보겠습니다. 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
승리를 거두고 난 이후에 쉽사리 자리에서 일어나시지 못하는 모습이었어요. 정말 그동안에 해왔던 엄청난 연습량에 대한 보상을 좀 받은 기분이실 것 같은데요. 또 연속 4강 진출 이뤄내신 기분이 어떠신가요?
일단은 좀 쉽게 올라갈 거라고 생각을 했었는데 좀 되게 어렵게 힘겹게 올라간 느낌이어서 좀 얼떨떨하고 그냥 기분은 되게 좋은 것 같아요.
첫 번째 세트도 상대 마린 메딕 병력에 대한 대처도 굉장히 좋았고요. 근데 유영진 선수가 계속해서 스코어를 좀 쫓아오는 느낌이 들었어요. 쫓기는 입장에서의 심리적인 부담도 작지 않았을 것 같은데요.
막 제가 실수를 오늘 너무 많이 해가지고 이게 게임하다가 긴장은 안 됐는데 이제 땀이 너무 나다 보니까 마우스 패드가 아예 젖어 있더라고요. 그래서 뮤탈이 너무 안 움직여가지고 5세트 에라 모르겠다 하고 그냥 해봤는데 어떻게 잘 풀린 것 같아요. 네.
그래도 오늘 이몽규 선수가 보여줬던 전략적인 움직임도 많은 분들에게 좀 인상을 남기셨던 것 같아요. 세 번째 세트 이 테란 원원원에 대한 빈틈을 제대로 좀 노리면서 럴커 저글링으로 뚫어내는 굉장히 전략적인 판단을 하셨는데 연습 때 이런 좀 공격적인 빌드를 해야겠다라고 마음을 먹으셨나요? 아니면 좀 즉흥적인 움직임이었나요?
전혀 아니었고 이제 초반 스타트부터 원래 12 앞마당을 해야 되는데 뭔가 8배럭 할 것 같은데 이러다 보니까 원칙을 어기고 연습하던 원칙을 어기고 이제 12풀로 해가지고 좀 말렸었고 거기서 이제 만약에 졌으면 아예 멘탈이 붕괴돼서 이제 떨어졌을 것 같은데 오히려 통했던 게 제가 올라갈 수 있는 발판이 되지 않았나 싶습니다.
세 번째 세트를 좀 가볍게 승리를 거두고 난 이후에 네 번째 세트가 이몽규 선수의 마음을 더 복잡하게 좀 만들었을 것 같습니다. 소리 지르는 그 소리가 대기실까지 들리더라고요. 테란이 11시 쪽에 공격을 왔을 때 이 커널에 대한 생각 때문에 좀 비명을 지르시지 않았나 싶거든요.
네. 아니 이제 커널을 타려고 아싸 이제 막았다 이겼다 약간 이미 4강 간 느낌이었거든요.
네.
마음속으로는. 근데 뮤탈 컨트롤 한번 좀 잘못하면서 그게 제가 커널을 못 뚫어놨나 봐요. 그래서 커널 타다 보니까 없는 거예요. 없어가지고 이거 어떻게 하지 해가지고 운영으로 따라가 보려고 했는데 역시 안 됐습니다. 네.
그래도 이후에 바로 상대 앞마당 쪽을 타이밍으로 연속해서 좀 공격하는 끝까지 좀 운영으로 풀어나가 보려는 움직임은 굉장히 좋았던 것 같은데
네.
다섯 번째 마지막 승부처에서 이 병력을 오른쪽으로 돌려서 상대 본진을 공략하는 판단이 굉장히 좋았습니다. 이후에 한 번은 유영진 선수가 막아냈거든요.
네네.
이후에 다시 한번 세시 쪽으로 병력을 모아서 진출하는 생각은 어떻게 하셨나요?
게임이 너무 유리하다 보니까 이제 굳이 정면에서 테란한테 1회 데이스를 맞으면서 제가 싸울 이유가 없는 거예요.
네.
그래서 병력을 돌리면 어쨌든 테란의 발을 또 묶어서 좋고 만약에 제 쪽으로 온다면 저는 다크섬으로 수비하고 빈집을 가서 이기는 약간 그런 시나리오를 그렸었는데 딱 맞아 떨어진 것 같아요.
오늘 모든 움직임에 대한 대처가 굉장히 좋으셨던 것 같은데 이제 4강 경기를 준비하셔야 합니다. 중요한 길목에서 늘 좀 발목을 잡았던 종족전이 또 저저전인 것 같아요. 이몽규 선수에게. 공교롭게도 이번 시즌 11 4강에서도 조일장 선수와 저저전을 펼치게 되셨는데 4강에서 저저전 이몽규 선수에게 썩 좋은 기억만은 아니실 것 같거든요. 어떠세요?
이제 김명훈 선수 같은 경우는 뭐 당연하게 저그들 중에서 가장 잘하니까 좀 번외로 놓고 이제 그 다음 리스트들을 보는데 일장형이 되게 저저전이 안정감이 있고 뭐 모든 종족전 다 그렇지만 특히나 저저전이 좀 되게 FM인데 굉장히 또 잘해요. 그래가지고 좀 힘겨운 싸움이 될 것 같습니다.
8강도 쉽지 않았는데 4강도 좀 어려운 싸움이 될 것 같다라고 말씀을 해주시네요. 그래도 또 경기 준비를 워낙 철저하게 해오시기 때문에 굉장히 박진감 넘치는 경기가 기대가 됩니다. 마지막으로 응원해주신 팬분들에게 한마디 해주시죠.
일단 오늘도 그 저번에 16강에서 분석해줬던 윤덕희 팬이라고 그 액션 분바부분 일단 너무 고맙고요. 그리고 짭제동이랑 박상현 선수랑 이 김지성 선수가 정말 제가 어제 12시부터 낮 12시부터 거의 새벽 3, 4시까지 제가 붙잡아 놨거든요.
네.
그래서 끝나고 별풍 쏘러 가겠습니다. 네.
다시 한번 4강 진출 축하드리고요. 4강 경기 때 뵙겠습니다.
감사합니다.
고맙습니다. 자, 이렇게 해서 마지막으로 4강에 진출한 이몽규 선수와 이야기 나눠봤습니다.
Well, that does it for the round of 8. I really like that match back there. Good job to Larva.
Yeah.
Such a back and forth, such a worthy round of 8. I know we started off on a low note with the PvPs, but I think we've got a very strong round of 4. We very well could have a ZVZ finals.
Dude, I gotta say, like the repeats that we're having every single season at this point, like we had Soma top 4 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
We've had Queen win 2 seasons in a row. Now we have Larva top 4 2 seasons in a row. It's really nice to see these top players really start to cement themselves as the very best amongst the best.
Who do you think wins with Hero and Larva?
I think Hero wins.
I think Hero wins.
Maybe
yeah.
I'm just maybe I'm underestimating Larva and over, but Larva, like he plays kind of a tricky ZVZ style, very strategic ZVZ style. We'll see if that's enough to take down Hero, but I think Hero's looking pretty prime. What about Queen Mini? Who do you think takes that?
I think Queen. I mean, Mini's very good, but I think Queen is actually the best active player in StarCraft. So
yeah, I think he has been for over a year now.
I agree.
He's been a killer.
Mini's pretty smart though. The thing is, if Mini's kind of wacky, out there PvZ style works, I think he wins the tournament. I think you beat Queen and Hero and Larva that's dessert.
That's an interesting thing to say because actually I think that Larva is... I think Hero and Larva are very good CVP players. So I don't know if I completely agree with that. Like, I could see... I could see anyone winning right now. But I do think it's Queen.
Well, it's hard to not predict Queen, right? I mean, he's done so well in the last 2 ASLs, and there's no Flash. And I do think he's basically the best that there is of these 4 players, basically the best there is in the tournament. Mini's match is going to be exciting.
Yeah,
I think most people are going to be looking more forward to that than the ZVZ, but the ZVZ is going to be good as well.
It'll be exciting. You know, ZVZ is very action-packed.
It's actually
so
a great matchup. Yeah. Guys, that's all the time we have. We love you. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. Bye-bye.
Have engaged the enemy.